All right, well, good evening, folks, and welcome back inside the Macon Centreplex for some Friday night hockey as your Macon Mayhem gets set to host the Huntsville Havoc for the third time this season. My name is Alex Von Coyle, the voice of your Macon Mayhem. So happy to have you with us here tonight on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Well, yesterday was a bit of a mess, you could say, here at the Centreplex. That Thursday night game against the Pensacola Ice Flyers on college night ended up being postponed due to ice issues. The problem surfaced right at 6:14 into the contest. Caleb Cameron delivered a heavy hit into the half wall of the Pensacola zone. The hit ended up dislodging a pane of glass and a stanchion and caused substantial separation between the boards and the ice surface. And a stick tap to Spectre, folks, the organization that manages the Macon Centreplex. They had on-site personnel as well as support staff working all throughout the evening. They pulled an all-nighter, tightening the boards back into place and resurfacing the ice. The conditions here are pristine tonight. The Mayhem front office staff has all been reassured that we are more than ready to go this evening and for the rest of the weekend, which is great news, not only for the Mayhem, but for these fans in attendance as well. Those who had tickets to Thursday night's game, meanwhile, will be admitted to the rescheduled game free of charge. As always, we ask that those of you tuned in keep posted on Mayhem's social media as often as you can, as that is where the exact date and time of the rescheduled game will be announced. Once it becomes finalized, we'll be sure to let those of you tuned in know. The Mayhem have only faced the Huntsville Havoc twice all season, once at home and once on the road. Both games were decided by just one goal. The Mayhem took the first matchup of the campaign way back on October 19th by a 2-1 final score at the Macon Centreplex, which feels like a lifetime ago. The Havoc responded with a 4-3 triumph over Macon a month ago at Von Braun Center, so both teams have defended their home ice when facing one another this season. The defending champs, however, dropped a 2-1 decision to the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs in Huntsville last night, despite outshooting their foes 32-25. They have now lost 2 straight in regulation, which has not happened very often this season for Glenn DeTulio and company. They've only played a handful, the Mayhem have only played a handful of minutes this weekend, with last night's game ending just 6:14 into the contest. They will certainly have the fatigue factor on their side. They're facing a Huntsville team which just played a full, tight-checking and low-scoring game and then traveled to Macon the following day, losing an hour to the time change. So this could be an X factor that the Mayhem might use to their advantage tonight, as the available points from here on in just become more and more important, especially when you consider that the team that the Mayhem are chasing in the standings, the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, collected both of their points last night with a 2-1 win over the Havoc. Following Stathis Sumalides' trade to the Fayetteville Marksmen earlier this week, Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael has promoted a couple of players to fill the vacant alternate captaincy roles. We mentioned it yesterday on the air, but I'm not sure everyone who's tuned in tonight was able to tune into that one because of all the issues that we had. But forward Dylan Denemy will sport the A for the Mayhem at home games, and defenseman Zach Urban will wear it on the road. Denemy has made a very substantial impact on this team in a short period of time. He's not been here for very long. He's got 4 points already through 7 games. Both of Macon's shorthanded goals have come off of his stick. Meanwhile, Zach Urban, he's in his 3rd season with the Mayhem. He's previously served as an alternate captain for periods of time throughout his pro career, and he was a choice that Ryan Michael knew he had to make in terms of promoting a player to fill in the vacant alternate captain role. You'll hear more regarding that and much more in just a moment. Here's the head coach of the Macon Mayhem, Ryan Michael, giving his thoughts on tonight's game. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, folks. We'll be back in about 7 minutes or so after this interview with the Mayhem head coach, Ryan Michael. All right, welcome into our pregame show, everybody. We're so happy to have you with us for some Friday night hockey. As always, I had the pleasure of being joined by the Mayhem head coach, Ryan Michael. Coach, I wanted to just get right into it here with regards to what happened yesterday along that half wall with the boards being dislodged and the crack kind of separating the ice from the wall. Had you ever seen something like that in your time with the Mayhem over the past 4 or 5 years?
No. I've never seen that in hockey in general. And whatever years of being involved as a player, I was actually pretty confused, and I was sitting there like, I don't even know what happens now, you know what I mean? So certainly a new experience for me, and I know a lot of the guys as well. So obviously never an ideal situation, but I think the rink staff did a great job in their efforts to get it fixed right away, and just became the point where it wasn't safe
Right.
to finish the game. So it just is what it is, and just kind of move forward.
For sure, and you've got to tap your stick to the rink crew there. They worked all night to get the ice surface done and rebolt the boards back in, and quite honestly, folks, the ice looks immaculate. It looks as good as it has all year, and we're looking forward to getting back at it tonight. And Coach Caleb Cameron was the one who delivered that hit. There have been some jokes going around that he's way stronger than we all thought. Do you think this could boost his confidence in any way?
I think it already has. I'm trying to knock him down a little bit. No, I mean he brings that kind of a game, and it was a good hit, and hopefully he keeps doing it, but maybe not to the point that we can't play anymore. But certainly appreciate kind of the style of play he brings to us.
Yeah, and he's already gotten several new nicknames on Facebook. We'll see which one sticks. But moving forward here, Coach, you recently appointed 2 new alternate captains following the trade that sent Stathis Umelitis to Fayetteville. Dylan Denemy will be wearing the A at home, Zach Urban on the road. There are a lot of veterans in that locker room. What ultimately compelled your decision to select those 2?
Well, Urban, has been here a good bit, and kind of a leader back on the blue line and on the bench, and somebody that's vocal and calming influence. So for me that was a no-brainer. And then Denemy's a little bit more of an upbeat, positive, always talking and joking, and I just felt like we kind of needed maybe that kind of a voice going on in the room as well as on the bench and whatnot. So they were excited to get that news, and I'm pretty confident they'll embrace it and run with it moving forward.
Certainly. Both of them have had big impacts on this team, not just this season, but in previous years. In the 17-18 season in particular, they were both a huge part of Macon's campaign. So, Coach, this question wasn't really asked at our line change show this past week. I know that you've sort of hinted at it previously, but what's the return on the investment that you expect from all 3 of the players brought on board from the Fayetteville trade?
In terms of Oscar, who's here, I liked him in college, and I've seen film on him from last summer, and somebody we were trying to get here, and didn't obviously work out, but I think he fills a void, certainly being a right shot D, so we have more than one on the back end, and he's a pretty smooth player, puck mover, so I think he's a guy that can help us get out of our own zone quick and defends well enough, and can help us on the offensive side. In terms of Bo McHugh, I remember him from the last time we played these guys, or played Fayetteville here. He had just gotten set down from Kevin Kerr in Greenville, and when this trade was getting swirled around as a possibility, I talked to Kevin, and he likes Bo a lot, and was highly recommended. And obviously right now he's up in Rapid City, and that's the goal for all of our guys, and that's what we want, is guys to move up and have success at that level. And if he does come back, then welcome arms. I think he's a big body. He's played a lot of years in the Western League with great success in terms of points, but he's a bigger kid, has a little bit of grit too. So, and being young and hungry is certainly a good thing. And then, Brett Johnson's not here, kind of unsure of where that's going to lead. But if he's wanting to come down and continue playing, he's a smaller left-handed guy with a lot of offensive upside. He had a good amount of points in Fayetteville for a guy that didn't play any power play for them at all. So, maybe a bottom 4 there, but maybe a top 6 for us. So certainly if he decides to join the fray, that gives us some good depth up front.
Without a doubt. 3 very balanced pieces added to the equation going forward. As Coach Michael said, only Oscar Arfelt is here at the moment. There's a good chance, however, that changes very shortly. Oscar Arfelt, I think, played 2 or 3 shifts last night, but from what you've told me, Coach, you said you've certainly liked what you've seen from him thus far. Last question I have for you about Huntsville. They're in town tonight. We haven't seen them in quite a while. It's been over a month since we last played them. That was in their barn. They played last night, traveled here, lost an hour due to the time change. Your team, meanwhile, is pretty well rested considering they played for 6 minutes last night and didn't travel. So do you think the fatigue could be a factor that you might be able to take advantage of tonight?
That's the plan. I think we gotta jump on them early. It's never easy. We've certainly been on this side of it where you play at home or in another city, and then you got to get right on the bus and travel somewhere else. So, that's part of the grind, and for us, that's a situation where we have to take advantage. Whether that's something in the first 5 minutes or the last 10 minutes or the last period. We're a little ill right now. We've got a little bug going around, so everybody's kind of getting their medicine, and hopefully, like you said, only having limited game time yesterday, has saved the legs a bit, and we should be, prepared and ready to go.
All right, well, I'll get on out of here before I get the bug. Coach, really appreciate your time. Thanks so much for joining me, and good luck tonight.
Thank you, sir.
That's Ryan Michael, the head coach of your Macon Mayhem. This has been your pregame show. We'll be back in just a moment with your out-of-town scoreboard update, starting lineups, and more right after this.
Welcome back, everybody. We hope you enjoyed that pregame interview with the Mayhem head coach, Ryan Michael, in his first year as the Mayhem head coach. And, folks, right now, the Mayhem just in a position where they need every point that they can get. They were hoping to get a couple last night. They obviously didn't with what happened, but neither did Pensacola. That game will be reset from scratch due to the SPHL rule, which states that if less than half of the first period was played, then it restarts. That game will just start over from 0-0 whenever it is rescheduled. So the Mayhem catching a break. They had conceded a goal to Michael Ederer, which no longer exists. So you've got to feel for Ederer, whose goal will not count, and for Ryan Marcuse, who assisted him. But things like this happen, and like I said yesterday, there was really nothing we could do last night to take care of the issue. But there was plenty to be done overnight, which is exactly what Spectra has done. And I got to tell you, folks, I went out on the ice surface this morning just to inspect the damage, so to speak, or lack thereof, and it looks much better. As a matter of fact, this is probably the best I've seen the ice all season. It looks quite immaculate, and we'll see how that affects the players. I'm really interested to see what kind of game this is. You heard Coach Michael discuss the importance of taking advantage of the bus legs that Huntsville most likely will have tonight. Again, they played last night. They suffered a narrow 2-1 defeat on home ice at the hands of the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs. And then they traveled to Macon, which, even though it's not that long of a trip per se, it's only 4.5 hours or so. You lose an hour when you come here. So to Huntsville, right now it's 6:30 instead of 7:30. They've not had really too much time to rest or to prepare for this game, whereas the Mayhem did after what happened yesterday, the game ending earlier. They didn't have to travel. They got to sleep in their own beds. That's an X factor that the Mayhem will hope to take advantage of tonight against the defending champs. The Huntsville Havoc coming into this game ranked 4th in the SPHL, an impressive record of 19-11-3. On the road, they have been solid as always. They've actually been a stronger team on the road this season than they have on home ice, which is a rarity as far as teams in the SPHL go. 11-5-2 away from Von Braun Center this season, which is especially intriguing because of how well the Havoc draw. They always have a great crowd at Von Braun Center in Huntsville, and for whatever reason, they've just been a stronger team on the road this season. That's not to say they haven't been good at home, because they've been solid, but on the road, their record even more impressive. The three keys of tonight's game, if you're a Mayhem fan, are as follows. Number one, staying out of the penalty box. Huntsville boasting the number 2 power play in the SPHL, just shy of 20%, a 19.3% conversion rate to be exact. Though with the injury to Nolan Kaiser, that's kind of Glenn DeTulio's, I'd say, his top power play quarterback, his top offensive defenseman, I would say. He's got a big booming shot from the blue line. He's not available. He's on the injured reserve, so most likely we'll see a lot of Alec Brandrup running things from the point tonight for Huntsville. And their power play, even without Kaiser, is lethal, folks. They've got the highest shooting player in the SPHL, and Rob Darrer, and he just loves to rip the one-timers from the right circle. Expect him to get a lot of shots on goal tonight as well. So anyways, staying out of the penalty box will be crucial for the Mayhem. Number 2, clearing the crease. Huntsville leads the league in shots on goal per game. They average a whopping 36.6, which is very impressive. They love to put the puck on net, so the Mayhem are going to have to be diligent about clearing the crease and preventing second opportunities. And finally, limit opposing odd man rushes. Huntsville, obviously, a very dangerous team in open ice. And Macon's goal that they conceded yesterday in the abbreviated game that did not count, that came off an odd man rush in which Michael Ederer made them pay. So, staying out of the penalty box, clearing the crease, and limiting opposing odd man rushes, these are your three keys of tonight's game. The starting lineup for Huntsville is as follows. Pat Condon gets the nod on the blue line alongside his D partner tonight, Severio Posa. Asai Nukovic will center Huntsville's starting line alongside Tyler Piacentini, the Huntsville leading goal scorer, on his left, and Scott Trask on his right. Perhaps they might switch that. Both of them left-handed shots. We'll see what happens there. Mike De La Verne has been given the green light to go in goal tonight for Glenn DeTulio and the Havoc. Alex de Oliveira will start things off on the blue line for the Mayhem this evening. 26 games played this season, 6 points, a goal, and 5 assists. De Oliveira will line up alongside Oscar Arfelt, who was brought to Macon in exchange for Stathis Soumalides and Jarrett Cupp. Macon also getting 2 other pieces in the deal, which will not play this weekend. Who will not play this weekend? Bo McHugh and Brett Johnson. Stephen Pirog, the Macon captain and leading scorer this season, will center Macon's starting line. He's the only player on this roster who was a part of the organization during its inaugural season. And Sean Lynch will be flanking him on the left side. Sean Lynch, certainly with his gritty style of play and his willingness to go to the dirty areas, has more than earned himself a spot on Macon's top line with Stephen Pirog and this man, Dylan Denemy, who was recently named alternate captain for the Mayhem on home games. Kevin Etma will be the man between the pipes tonight for the Mayhem. This season, a record of 8-12-2, a goals against average of 3 even, and a save percentage of .902. These have been your starting lineups. Taking a quick glance at who's hot. Sean Lynch, 3 goals in his last 4 games. Stephen Pirog has been strong against Huntsville this season. 4 points through 2 games played against the Havoc, 2 goals and as many assists. And Colton Wolter, we mentioned him yesterday as a player for Pensacola to look out for, has collected a goal and a fight in his last game up in Peoria 6 days ago in just his second game with the Mayhem. Huntsville's players to watch will be read to you momentarily, but first, the singing of our country's national anthem here at the Macon Centreplex. We're so glad to have you with us here on First Responders Night. We'll be back in just a moment, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. So we are just about ready to go here at the Macon Centreplex. Huntsville, Macon clashing for just the 3rd time this season. And the campaign for both parties is more than halfway through. For the Mayhem, this is game number 34. As for Huntsville, they are in the exact same boat. They have played an equal amount, 33 games this season, 41 points, a +10 goal differential, 4th best in the SPHL. The 2nd best power play, the 4th best penalty kill, just a strong team overall. Really, any way you look at it, the Mayhem are going to have to bring their A game tonight. Speaking of which, let's take a look at a few players to watch from Huntsville's side of things. Sean Bates, he leads the team in scoring. He's got 32 points in the campaign, 9 goals, 23 assists. And Bates is somebody who's really stepped up for the Havoc this season. He's been near the top of the league all season long. Right now, he's 4th in the SPHL in assists with 23. Sai Nukovic, always somebody you've got to watch out for. Number 19 in the red, white, and black sweaters. He's got 4 points in 2 games against Macon this season, 3 of which are assists. Last season, he was near the top of the SBHL in assists. He was 4th in the league last season. Cy Nukovic, somebody who's been around the professional landscape for a long time. And finally, Tyler Piacentini, undersized, but don't let that fool you, folks. He's Huntsville's leading goal scorer, 13 goals this season, 21 points. And against Macon in this building, he's the only player to have scored for the Havoc this season. Back on October 19th, he scored Huntsville's lone goal of that game, and it came just seconds into the contest following a fluky carom off of, I believe it was the linesman's skate. So I beg your pardon, Piacentini actually a right-handed shot. I misidentified him earlier, my apologies. Piacentini, so he will be on the right flank of this starting line with Cy Nukovic centering and with Scott Trask on the left. Scott Trask returning from a 1-game suspension in which he was found guilty of spearing a player in the Birmingham game last week in the 3rd period of that tilt. Trask currently leading the league in penalty minutes with 81 on the campaign. That is, of course, I beg your pardon, with 83 on the campaign, and that's if you do not include the former Mayhem defenseman Ryan Devine, who was cut from the Quad City Storm. So if you don't count Devine, Scott Trask leads the league in penalty minutes. He's somebody that the Mayhem, though he was not on the players to watch officially, is going to be somebody that the Mayhem will watch with a vigilant eye. For both teams, this is game number 34 of the 2019-20 season. The Havoc currently sitting tied for 4th place with the Knoxville Ice Bears. The Havoc with 2 games in hand over Knoxville. The Ice Bears have with 35 games played. Huntsville with 33. This will be their 34th. The Mayhem, meanwhile, right now chasing the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs and the Quad City Storm to try to pull themselves into the playoff picture. They're 5 points out of the postseason picture right now, but all the teams that they're chasing right now have games in hand on them. So that just makes these points all throughout the weekend that much more valuable. There's been a bit of a delay here at the Macon Centreplex at the onset of tonight's game. One of the linesmen, Dan Huntington, discussing things with Cy Nukovic and Stephen Pirog in the neutral zone. It is now 7:38 local time, Eastern Standard Time here in Macon, Georgia. It is 8 minutes later than the scheduled puck drop for tonight's game. Right now, one of the linesmen is skating out with a rake and shoveling some ice along the blue line at the moment. I'm sure a lot of fans in the arena here are probably thinking to themselves, oh boy, not again. We'll hear from one of the Mayhem's newest additions, Oscar Arfelt, folks, during the first intermission of tonight's game. I had the chance to meet Oscar before the game tonight. Nice fella. It was really nice getting to meet him, get to know him a little bit, and I asked him about what the deal is with him and these difficulties that have surfaced with the ice yesterday here at the Macon Centreplex, and then before that in Fayetteville. The Zamboni ended up breaking down so that the marksmen and the Evansville Thunderbolts had to wrap up the game after the first period was scoreless. They just went immediately to a shootout in which Oscar Arfelt scored the game winner. So I asked him if he felt like he was cursed because the very next game that he played in after he got traded from Fayetteville to here, the game got postponed due to ice issues. So you'll hear his response exactly during the first intermission, but what he told me was, I'm not too superstitious of a guy. I don't think I'm cursed, but maybe if something goes wrong tonight, I think he said 2 is misfortune, 3 is a curse. So let's hope, fingers crossed, nothing of that sort goes wrong tonight. Meanwhile, it looks like we're finally about to get underway here. The referee for tonight's game is Zane Stout. The linesmen are William Bray and Dan Huntington. Thanks so much for joining us tonight, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network, on SPHL Live and on YouTube. Stephen Pirog against Cy Nukovic in the opening faceoff, won by the latter of the two. This game is underway as Pirog receives the pass from D'Oliveira in the neutral zone. It's been floated into the Havoc zone by Sean Lynch and quickly cleared up the glass and Oliveira kept it momentarily, but it's been flung out to Nukovic on the left wing side. He centers it. Good pass. Backhand shot. Piacentini scores. 20 seconds into the game. A beautiful pass by Nukovic from the left half wall near the left point, and it went right onto the tape of Tyler Piacentini, who deked to his backhand and just tucked it past Kevin Etma. First shot of the game, 20 seconds in. Huntsville takes a 1-0 lead. Huntsville loves these odd man rushes, and that's one of the keys of tonight's game, was limiting odd man rushes. Looked as though Alex de Oliveira might have been caught up ice a little too far. He was at the left point trying to pinch in and keep the attack going, which you can't really fault him for, but the puck did not take a friendly bounce to him, and Huntsville immediately came down the ice and capitalized on that 2-on-1. Puck's been dumped into the right corner, retrieved by Larry Smith. He will leave it there for Ben Campbell to work it up the near boards. Caleb Cameron accelerates it up to neutral territory, and Stepan Timofeyev will dump it in past Alec Brandrup. It's now battled for by Colton Wolter, who will put it behind the Huntsville cage. Scooping it up, Alex Palmerville, who will skate it out of harm's way for Huntsville and float it just wide of the net from center ice. It's scooped up by Zemlitska and guided across for Zach Urban in his own zone. He will twist it back to Zemlitska, who he started the game with yesterday. Zemlitska up to Cousineau, who will angle it off the boards. He takes a huge hit, does Cousineau, right along the half wall on the near side of the Macon zone. Now it's out at center ice. David Pulowski pursues it. Brandrup gives it on back to Palmerville, who misfires on his pass. This will be an icing called against Huntsville. Zach Urban gets into a bit of a tussle in front of the Macon cage with Baxter Cantor. He's playing in his 8th game this season for Huntsville. A minute and a half have expired. The Mayhem already find themselves trailing a goal. It's 1-0 Havoc. Tyler Piacentini scoring the goal. He leads all Havoc in goals this season with 14 now on the campaign. And oddly enough, he remains the only player on the Havoc to have scored a goal in this building this season. He's got both Huntsville tallies, and this is almost deja vu of what happened here about 3.5 months ago. It was on opening weekend, October 19th. The Mayhem were hosting the Havoc, and Tyler Piacentini scored what would ultimately be Huntsville's only goal of the game. Seconds into the contest, I can't remember precisely. I want to say it was around 17 or 19 seconds in. It was the very first shift, just like tonight. Piacentini opened the scoring. However, that goal was unassisted. It was a lot more fluky. This one was sheer skill. It was a brilliant pass by Nukovic. So we will go to the 4-on-4. Zach Urban and Baxter Cantor both given offsetting roughing minors. So Urban in the Beyond Taboo Tattoo penalty box and Baxter Cantor in the All-State Bonding penalty box. So we'll go to some open ice hockey here, and Stephen Pirog will take the offensive zone draw against Rob Durar. The puck drops, Durar wins the face-off, and it's Scott Trask dealing it to his left for Condon. Condon will give it back. I beg your pardon, that's Stefan Beauvais, not Scott Trask. He's got it behind his own net now and will begin the breakout for the Havoc. He flings it to his right, and it's Kyle Sharkey, the alternate captain, in across the line with a shot off the pad of Entma. Gets a second chance following the carom, put it off the side of the goal, and now Pirog will jam it along. Alex de Oliveira to Pirog. De Oliveira's back on it. He's harassed by Sharkey every step of the way. Now it's going to be played by Oscar Arfelt in his own zone. He slides it across the slot, and Pat Condon pinches in, centers it. Pirog there to intercept. He'll just chisel it off the boards. It was played by a high stick, and thus we get a whistle stopping play. Pat Condon played it right in front of the Macon bench with a high stick, so the ensuing faceoff will come into Huntsville territory. Or perhaps just onto the Huntsville side of the neutral zone. We'll see. It'll just be a neutral zone faceoff following that high stick. 17:48 to go here in period 1. A minute 19 to go on the 4-on-4. Colton Wolter will take the draw against the other number 19, Nukovic. Dan Huntington drops the puck. Nukovic wins the draw. Alec Brandrup has it in his own zone. Brandrup with 11 points this season, 10 of which are assists. He's a very good distributor of the puck. Last season, he was one of the best defensemen at getting into the assist category, and he will shovel a backhand pass in front, hoping for Nukovic, who is on the doorstep. Was not quite in his wheelhouse, went between his skates, now twisting with it down the near corner boards is Saverio Posa, who's dispossessed of it by Ben Campbell. And Campbell loses the puck back to Posa, who will rattle it back up to the line for Nukovic. Gives it back to Posa, redirects into the circle. Scott Trask salvages possession. And now it's Brandrup, who's taken off the puck by Colton Wolter, trying desperately to win the puck for Macon. Larry Smith in there helping him out as well. And the puck flies out of play over the near half wall in the Macon zone. Some pushes and shoves after the fact between Sean Bates and Larry Smith. Smith's got his father, Larry Smith Sr., in attendance tonight, all the way from Buffalo, New York, as well as his sister Brianne. It was a pleasure meeting her earlier and then reconnecting with Mr. Larry Smith Sr. Probably a half hour or so before this game started. We're 3 minutes into this contest, 1-0 the score in favor of the Huntsville Havoc. Tyler Piacentini with the lone goal of this game. He leads everybody on the ice from both sides in goals this season with 14. So the face-off will take place to the left of Kevin Etma. Caleb Cameron against Scott Trask, won by the latter, and Condon will give it across. And here's Beauvais shooting, redirected wide by Piacentini, who overskates it behind the Macon cage. Caleb Cameron has it on his backhand, turned it over off the referee. Here's a quick one-timer coming off the stick of Trask that misfires. Now it's Brandrup guiding it across, goes between the skates of Stefan Beauvais. And Tyler Piacentini will drop it back to Condon. Scott Trask wheels back in his own zone with it. Cameron, in the meantime, goes to the Macon bench to complete a line change. Stepping out of the box, Zach Urban, who kind of slashed Piacentini on the way through, and that did not sit well with Cantor. They're going to drop the gloves. Baxter Cantor and Zach Urban in a Donnybrook at center ice. Urban temporarily lost his footing, but stays on his skates. The helmet goes flying back towards the Huntsville zone. They're still pounding away, and Cantor has just brought Urban down to the ice. Well, their exodus from the penalty boxes lasted all of 2 seconds, and they're right back to where they came from. And this time it'll be a lot longer. For our radio listeners, you're obviously weren't able to see what happened, so I'll do my best to describe it for you. Piacentini was skating down the right wall through the neutral zone, the wall that has the penalty boxes, and Urban, as soon as the penalty expired, sort of came out and maybe accidentally on purpose got Piacentini with his stick on the way through, which you're not allowed to do. Not sure exactly what that rule is called. Could be penalty, some sort of penalty box violation. You're not allowed to play the puck until your skates are back on the ice, and you're not allowed to interfere with an opposing player unless your skates are back on the ice. So they could call that interference or something else, but it certainly is a penalty. So Huntsville will go to a power play because of that, and that's what led ultimately to the scrap between Urban and Baxter Cantor, who were just in the box for offsetting roughing minors. Now they're going to be in there for 7 and 5 minutes respectively. Saverio Posa, Huntsville's power play, clicking at second best in the league, 19% plus on the season. Posa walks the blue line, gives it to his right. Sharkey, right circle, snap shot that misses high. And now it's Pirog, takes a man into the half wall, and now here comes Denemy racing down the right wing. He snaps a shot off. Mike DeLaverne with the save. That's his first of this game. And now it'll be Kyle Sharkey skating it back with his team on the man advantage the other direction. Dylan Denemy flying back on the back check. He will chip it off the glass and out into neutral territory where it's corralled by Caleb Cameron onside. Cameron is defended well by Pat Condon, however, and the Havoc continue their power play. This Mayhem penalty kill is brought to you by J&J's Heating and Air Conditioning. Kyle Sharkey will drop it back to Saverio Posa as he will delay it in his own zone and drop it on back to Cy Nukovic. This Huntsville offense runs through number 19, folks. And he's got it on his stick behind the Huntsville net. He will leave it off to Alec Brandrup. Dishes it back to Nukovic. Slides it off the far side boards in front of the Macon bench where it careens, and it's tipped further by Scott Trask. Nukovic from the right corner will shovel it around to the boards to the right point. And it's played by Rob Durar, given back to Trask. Trask off the half wall, back to Brandrup. He bobbled it but recovered. He steps into the slot with it, looks to shoot. He does, save Rebound eludes Piacentini. He corrals it in the far corner, sets up Nukovic. Piacentini at the goal line, gives it to Durar in the right circle. 24 seconds on this Huntsville power play. Nukovic, far circle, slap shot, goes through the crease and wide and rattles its way all the way back down into the Huntsville zone. Their power play is running out of time. 15 seconds, time enough for one last rush. And Brandrup will lead the charge up through the middle of the ice. He drops it back to his captain, Scott Trask, and across the Macon blue line on the right wing side. I beg your pardon, that is Stefan Beauvais. Not used to seeing all these numbers in the 70s. Another one, Rob Darrer, sends it back to the point. It's taken away by Dylan Denemy, who will race down the right wing and center it. Stephen Pirog was well covered. And notwithstanding the pass, not really in his wheelhouse. Play continues here. The Mayhem, in the meantime, have returned to full strength, but Urban is forced to stay in the penalty box due to the... there's some confusion here, folks. Nobody went into the box with Urban. So the Mayhem still skating shorthanded needlessly. This is an Edmonton Oilers situation. And it's brought down the left side and flung across to Stefan Beauvais. It was missed his stick. Nobody on the Mayhem bench realizes they're playing needlessly shorthanded and have been for the past 30-plus seconds. This is a Dallas Eakin level blunder, folks. I'm shocked that nobody on the Macon bench has realized they have been playing shorthanded for no reason for the past probably minute at this point. They are still shorthanded on the ice, even though they should be at full strength. There has not been a whistle, and Huntsville's probably just keeping quiet, allowing this to play out as long as they can with this free power play. Larry Smith put it into his own slot. He's able to clear it off the boards and out into the neutral zone. And it's Colton Wolter who's hung up near the Allstate bonding penalty box. It's scrapped out to Zemlitska, and finally another player goes onto the ice, and the whistle blows immediately after that happened. They might be trying to say this is too many men on the ice. So I've got to say, folks, this is probably as much the officials' fault as it is the Mayhem's fault, because the onus is on Zane Stout to ensure that somebody else had to be in the penalty box with Zach Urban. And because he didn't do that, that led to some confusion on the Macon bench. And when Urban's penalty for interfering with somebody after stepping out of the penalty box and before stepping foot on the ice, that penalty expired, but he had to stay in the box because of the fight. And the same is true of Baxter Cantor. So because of that, there was nobody besides Urban in the Macon penalty box. And once they returned to full strength, they were still shorthanded. They kept 4 players out there for at least a minute, I would say. And perhaps Ryan Michael and the Mayhem bench had noticed it all along, but didn't want to send somebody out there for fear of this very incident, because they were afraid of being penalized for too many men on the ice. So now the question becomes, is it the head coach's duty to make sure that one of his players skates to his own penalty box, or is it the duty of the referee? And Glenn DiTullio is as frustrated by this scenario as anybody. You're seeing a lot more activity on the Huntsville bench than you are on Macon's bench, which is a bit surprising to me. Because if I'm Ryan Michael, I'm asking Zane Stout, why didn't you make sure that we sent somebody else to the box? Nevertheless, I think you've got to take that chance. I think somebody should have been, whether or not they realized it, folks, somebody from the Macon bench should have hopped off immediately after the 2 minutes expired. Because imagine if Huntsville had scored a 5-on-4 goal, even though the Mayhem were technically supposed to be at full strength. So that mess is now behind us. 13:03 to go in the first period. 1-0 Huntsville is your score. Puck's been rattled off the near sideboards and down into the Macon zone. That'll be an icing call made against Huntsville. We're 7 minutes and 3 seconds into this game. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. The Mayhem trailing the Huntsville Havoc by a 1-0 score here at the Macon Centreplex. Tyler Piacentini with the lone goal up till this point. We're so happy to have you with us tonight, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Thanks so much for joining us, whether you're on SPHL Live or on YouTube. David Pulowski will take an offensive zone face-off to the right of Mike De La Verne, and it's gunned down by Keplinger in the far corner. Keplinger held up a little bit. He's got it on his backhand. Will shovel it down the half wall on the far side. It's been cleared immediately, and Piacentini in front of the benches will chip one further. It's raced after by Zemlitska, who will rattle it off the boards on the far side. Chamello working for it. Near the Earthall Chiropractic Dashers, he has just cleared it all the way down. That is not icing, and Pat Condon will have to make a play on it as he reverses one along his own end wall to Severio Posa. Posa maintains possession with 12:20 to go in the opening period. His team up by a goal. Keplinger is in the F1 position and is hanging tight. And will now switch places with Sean Lynch. And Ryan Michael will get his top line back out there. Puck's been cleared off the stick of Greg Burmaster and into Macon territory. Bit of a cough up in the slot. Burmaster tried to turn it at the net. Oscar Arfelt intercepted that but couldn't clear it. It fluttered into the slot. Burmaster turns. He waits. Doesn't see a shooting lane he likes. He will wheel to the outside and carry it all the way into the far corner now. Greg Burmaster is sized up by Oscar Arfelt along the far half wall. And Stephen Pirog getting his stick in there. Couldn't clear it. Left point shot. Swallowed up by Kevin Etma. Greg Burmaster with a nice little shift and a good surge in the offensive zone. He played a couple of seasons with Sean Lynch at Utica College. In fact, he was the only one on the team who outscored Lynch in his senior year, putting up a whopping 46 points in just 29 games played. Lynch tied for second on the Utica College Pioneers that season in his senior year with 28. So a big discrepancy between first and second that season at Utica College. I imagine the two of them probably pretty close. Zemlitska rims it around to the far point. It's been cleared out in front of the Huntsville bench. Caleb Cameron threw another big hit. He's probably nervous every time he does that now that he's going to break something. Shoveled up the far wall by Zemlitska to his fellow European Stepan Timofeyev. He will send it this way to Campbell, up to Cameron, who redirects it into the Huntsville zone. Whipped around by goaltender Mike DeLaverne. Colton Wolter halts it at the point. Long blue line shot, stick save. Rebound loose, cleared away from Cameron. And out to the near side where Dave Nippard will advance it. Up through center for Kyle Sharkey. He will weave near the far half wall and deliver it in behind the Macon goal line. Larry Smith's clearing attempt fails. It's kept in the zone by Nukovic, who flung it over to Sharkey. His shot gets blocked and it's flown out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. That last shot taken by Piacentini, not Sharkey. 10:42 to go in period one. 1-0 your score in favor of Huntsville. We hope you're enjoying the broadcast tonight, folks. Whether you're a Mayhem fan or a Huntsville Havoc fan, we're glad to have you with us for some Friday night hockey. The ensuing draw will be outside of Macon ice. It'll be, I believe, right in front of the Macon bench, because the shot was deflected by a Macon stick and flew out of play. Zach Urban has spent about 70% of this game so far in the penalty box and remains there for the time being. However, his counterpart Baxter Cantor, with whom he fought and got roughing penalties in this game already, has been let out because he did not have the minor on top of the fighting major. David Pulowski taking a defensive zone draw and doing a good job of winning it. Meanwhile, it's soccered back along by Stephen Beauvais, who's got no stick. Stefan Beauvais, here comes DeOliveira on a counterattack to Cousineau. He's got it on his backhand, drops it to the tail gunner. Smith, long shot, gets blocked. And the Havoc are out to center with it. Could be trouble for the Mayhem. Larry Smith caught flat-footed. Here's a breakaway shot, score. It's Scott Trask going through the 5-hole and doubling up Huntsville's lead before the halfway point of period one. It's 2-0 Havoc. Not sure Larry Smith even realized that predicament he was in. He was kind of hung out to dry a little bit. He was the lone defenseman back, and this is not the type of game the Mayhem want to play against the Havoc, folks. This is very much a run-and-gun team. They love this kind of north-south hockey, this kind of run-and-gun style of play in which there are just odd-man rushes left and right. So far, that's been the case. They have predominantly favored Huntsville, and they have capitalized on them. Kevin Etma's having a rough time in net so far tonight with all these high-end scoring chances he's had to face. And that flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 10:06 to go in the first. 2-0 Huntsville. Scott Trask with the goal, his first game back from the suspension. He's got 2 goals on the season now and 11 points. The league's leader in penalty minutes with 83 on the campaign. No relation to Jake Trask, one of the most beloved players in the history of the Macon Mayhem. Mayhem have just cleared the puck out of their own zone, courtesy of Ben Campbell, but the Havoc are all over it in their own end. Chance Baird has it in his own circle. He will give it across to Stefan Beauvais, who has cleared it out to the Macon blue line. Played further by Oscar Arfelt. Now here's Sean Lynch, and across the Huntsville line, he will put it down into the left corner. And Dylan Denemy throws a big size hit on Alex Palmerville. And it's going to be Saverio Posa trying to escape his own zone. He can't do it. Good keep by Arfelt, who sidesteps a check, puts it down the goal line, gets the return from Pirog. He's got it. He shoots. He missed the net. Might have been blocked and flown out of play, but regardless, Ryan Michaels probably licking his chops after that play made by Arfelt along the boards. That's exactly the kind of play that the Mayhem have not been able to make very often due to the surplus of left-handed defensemen, players that are not accustomed to playing on that side, who have had to out of necessity this season, because Zach Urban has really been the only right-handed shooting defenseman the Mayhem have had with any regularity in their lineup. Nick Minerva and Rennie Hunter were on the roster to start the season, but Minerva was very promptly called up to the ECHL's Wheeling Nailers, the Pittsburgh Penguins AA farm team. He has not returned. He has thrived. He's done very well up there in Wheeling this season. In fact, this season, Minerva, through 34 games played in Wheeling, he's got 3 goals, 5 assists, 8 points, 27 penalty minutes. He's doing pretty well up at the Wheeling Nailers. We, of course, wish the best for him. And Rennie Hunter, shortly afterward, went back home to Canada. So Zach Urban was kind of left as the only right-handed defenseman for probably half of this season. And plays like that were very difficult for those left-handed shooters to make at the right point, and it created a very good scoring chance for the Mayhem, which Oscar Arfelt nearly took advantage of. So Caleb Cameron will reverse the puck down in below the Huntsville cage, and it's been wheeled around to the point. Wojtek Zemlitska's shot was blocked. He gets crunched into the half wall in front of the All-State bounding penalty box by Baxter Cantor. And Kevin Etma's out of his net. He picks it up inside of his own trapezoid and rims it around to the near half wall. It's been halted in the corner by Rob Durar. And Stepan Timofeyev's got it. He will bounce one up ice. Here's an opportunity for Cameron. Hustling back Barandrup. Cameron drives, puts it on his backhand, gets taken down, and crashes into the goaltender, Mike De La Verne. This could be a penalty shot. He wasn't quite on a clear-cut breakaway, but he was certainly close. And this is going to be referee discretion. It looks as though it will just be a standard penalty called against Alec Barandrup for the hold. So Caleb Cameron, with his speed, has drawn a power play for the Mayhem. 8:50 to go in period 1. Macon already trailing by a pair of goals. 2-0 the score in favor of Huntsville. Zach Urban, meanwhile, has finally been let out of the penalty box and will rejoin his team. And the Mayhem will go to their first power play of this game. They're 1-for-1 on the PK thus far. This Macon penalty, or power play rather, will be brought to you by Wild Wing Cafe. The culprit, Alec Barandrup, now got 36 penalty minutes this season. Tied for third on the Havoc, behind only Scott Trask and Chance Baird. So the Mayhem going to an offensive zone draw here. It will feature Stephen Pirog and whomever Glenn DeTulio decides to put out there against him. It's looking like it will likely be Cy Nukovic, Huntsville's best face-off man. The holding the call against Barandrup, and the Mayhem go to their first Wild Wing Cafe power play of this game. Huntsville with a respectable penalty kill, a 4th in the league, 84.6%. Meanwhile, Macon's power play has converted on just 12.8% of its chances this season. Zach Urban behind his own net. Makes the breakout pass to his right to Dylan Denemy. He floats it into the middle of the ice, and it's gloved down or played down by a stick skillfully by Walter, but eventually taken away by Piacentini. Given back away to Pirog, who will feed it to Zach Urban. Pirog, right side, drops it off. Denemy, right circle. It's hit from behind while shooting. Loose puck flutters up the slot, and it'll be the Havoc skating it out of harm's way. Long shot by Sean Bates is off the mark. It missed the left post. Now it's Sean Lynch dropping it to Dylan Denemy behind his own net. Denemy leaves it to Josh Keplinger. He's got to spin away. He was under pressure by the Havoc. He gets right back on the puck, gets brought down. Eventually loses the puck to Sean Bates, who will feed it to Chance Baird in neutral territory. Baird gives it across. Pat Condon has dumped it in. Keplinger's after it in the Macon zone. 50 seconds to go on this power play for Macon. Alex De Oliveira up to Keplinger on his right. Josh Keplinger down the right wing. He skates in across the Huntsville blue line, loses the puck, and it's been quickly cleared down. Kevin Entma's out of his net. He passes it up ice. Diving play made by Timofeyev to redirect it on goal from center ice, and Mike DeLaverne will cover it up in his crease. That's a nice effort by Stepan Timofeyev. Not a lot of players in that situation would have attempted a dive just to redirect the puck into the offensive zone, but Timofeyev did. A-plus effort play by the Russian, the reigning FHL's Rookie of the Year last season, back when they were called the FHL, when he was with the Elmira Enforcers. And boy, let me tell you folks, just from seeing comments on Facebook and whatnot, fan base in Elmira certainly misses Stepan Timofeyev and what he did for them last year. De Oliveira, slap pass into the slot. Caleb Cameron is down on his rear end. Gets it to Timofeyev, who tried to feed it across to Cousineau, but it was intercepted before it reached him, and it's been cleared down again. 15 seconds to go on the power play for Macon. Kevin Entma's got it in the Macon trapezoid. We'll give it to Alex De Oliveira, who begins the breakout for the Mayhem. His pass goes off the stick of Rob Durar. Back on it is Keplinger. He skates it out to neutral territory. From the red line, will dump it in. It rattles around the boards in the end wall, and it's turned over behind his own net by DeLaverne, but he's bailed out immediately thereafter by the Havoc, and here they come. Sinukovic, right circle, slap shot was a changeup, and it went high. Piacentini will put it down to the far corner. Nukovic is all over it. He corrals it from the half wall, flutters it across the ice. Here's a long shot coming off the stick of Beauvais that missed fired. And another shot, this time from the far point, was denied by Entma. Ben Campbell up to Keplinger. Keplinger gets some help from Pawlowski. With further help from Chimello, the Mayhem finally able to clear. They head to the Macon bench for a line change. Beauvais sends it into the Macon zone, counterclockwise around the end wall. And now it's Greg Burmaster behind the Macon cage for the Havoc. He turns and fires. Tough angle bid blocked by Ben Campbell, who backhands it. It goes off a stanchion. Kevin Entma tried to dive after it, but it was scooped up by his own man, Stephen Pirog, who can't clear it. Pat Condon's blast is blocked by Pirog, who has just chipped it out past his own blue line. Pat Condon it up to Rob Durar. His pass found Sharkey, but he mishandled it. Dylan Denemy commences the counterattack. He's joined by Lynch. Stephen Pirog whiffed on the slap shot, and here come the Havoc 3-on-2. Kyle Sharkey up the ice, right through the middle. Gives it to Durar on the right side. His cross-crease pass missed everything in sight. Now it's loose along the far half wall and centered into the deep slot. Durar's one-timer didn't have much on it. It missed the net wide regardless. Sharkey centered it, hoping for Palmerville. It missed his stick. The Mayhem will get another quick line change underway. 5:05 to go in the first period. The Havoc leading by a 2-0 score, with goals coming from Tyler Piacentini and Scott Trask in that order. Both teams 0 for 1 on their respective power plays thus far tonight. Colton Wolter forechecking for the time being. And Alec Brandrup has distributed out, but the Havoc can't clear it. Wolter hugging the boards in the far half wall. Caleb Cameron assisting him, trying to move it any which way he can, and a penalty is going to be called here against Huntsville. Caleb Cameron really putting himself in harm's way there. He was surrounded by a pair of Havoc players who were both cross-checking him, and one of them got called for it. I'm not sure if they'll call slashing or cross-checking. They could call either one, but it's the second trip to the sin bin tonight already for Alec Brandrup, both of which came against Caleb Cameron, who seems to be his kryptonite so far tonight. 4:33 to go in the first period. 2-0 Huntsville, but the Mayhem going back to the power play for the second time tonight. Both Macon power plays have been drawn by Caleb Cameron, and both Huntsville penalties, or rather short-handed situations, I should say, were a result of Alec Brandrup doing something to Caleb Cameron. Nice shout out to our Blues Painting and Home Repair heroes of the game tonight here on First Responders Night for what they have done for the Macon-Bibb County community. With their contributions in law enforcement and whatnot, we're so thankful to have them and what they have done. Roughing the call against Alec Brandrup, the Mayhem going back to their second power play of the game. For those of you tuned in who are interested in nominating a hero of the game or being one, visit the Mayhem website, maconmayhem.com. That will give you a chance to enjoy a Macon Mayhem game in VIP fashion and perhaps enjoy an experience you will never forget. Zach Urban goes up the middle of the ice for Colton Wolter. And here's Stephen Pirog in across the Huntsville zone. He turns near the left circle. Will deliver it down to the left corner, hoping for Denemy. It was played first by Condon. Condon can't clear it. It's been whipped back to the line. Much too fast for Urban to make a play on it by Colton Wolter, who had too much gas on that pass. And now it's Wolter back the other way, in across the blue line. Lynch to Denemy. Denemy floats it across to the right point where Zach Urban will give it to the right corner for Josh Keplinger. He attempts to put it in behind the net, hoping for Wolter. Never reached him. Piacentini for Huntsville has cleared it past Urban all the way down. And fresh off the bench will be Alex de Oliveira pursuing it in his own zone. 3:35 to go in period one. Macon's power play is already halfway through. It's been brought to you by Wild Wings Cafe. Here comes Keplinger down his off wing. He'll roll one around the boards, and it's been stopped by Huntsville goaltender Mike Delaverne, but he failed to clear it. De Oliveira gives it back to Pirog, right side. Rather, that's Stepan Timofeyev. Far half wall. He trickles it through to the line. De Oliveira slap pass to Cousineau, left circle, centered it. Ricochets around near the crease, and it's flung on goal from Keplinger at a tough angle, and De Laverne was able to make that stop in his crease. 3:08 to go now, 2-0 Huntsville, with 35 seconds remaining on the penalty called against Alec Brandrup for the roughing penalty he was found guilty of. He gave Caleb Cameron one too many shoves into the far half wall near the dasher boards. David Pulowski to take the ensuing face-off. Assuming he plays tomorrow night, he will have played as many games for the Mayhem as he's played in the Federal Prospects Hockey League this season, where he's done extremely well. Puck's been cleared down into Macon territory. It's been stopped by Entma and given to Keplinger. Now De Oliveira has it. 20 seconds to go on the man advantage. De Oliveira's pass flukily makes its way to Keplinger, who just one-hands it below the Huntsville goal line. Condon will try to clear it out. He does immediately. And De Oliveira retreats to go settle down that rolling puck. That's just about done it for this Macon man advantage, who have now dropped their second straight. Stepan Timofeyev racing through center ice and across the blue line on the left side, cuts into the slot and loses the puck. And there's a good stick check made by Alex Palmerville to knock it off Timofeyev's blade, but the rookie is able to keep it in the attacking zone for the time being and shovel it into the left corner. The Havoc are quickly out. Larry Smith up to Pirog. Never got to him. It was Rob Darr taking it away. Stephen Pirog wheels into the attacking zone, puts it over to Mike Cimello on his right. Cimello twists it down to Pirog, far half wall, whose pass is outside of the reach of Sean Lynch. Darrar shovels it off the boards, out past the blue line just barely. Pirog regains it and gives it back to Ben Campbell. His pass finds the intended target, Josh Keplinger, who's closed off by Rob Darr. Are fighting for it along with Keplinger over there on that far side of the ice. 1:32 to go here in period one. 2-0 Havoc, with contributions from Piacentini here and from Scott Trask. Severio Posa able to chip one off the glass and out to neutral territory, and Wojtek Zemlitska will send it across to Zach Urban. From the red line, he will dump it into the Huntsville zone. Delaverne puts his stick out, tries to slow it down. He succeeds, and he's able to work it up the boards on the near side. Piacentini turning on the Jets, entering the Macon zone and sending it across, hoping for Trask, who's just outside of his reach. Now Dylan Denemy settles the puck inside of the far circle, and his pass go behind David Pulowski. Pulowski forechecking Alec Brandrup, who has given it across to Trask. And Cy Nukovic tried a give-and-go play with Tyler Piacentini. That didn't work out. Good read by Alex de Oliveira along the boards. Now here comes Timofeyev. Coughs it up in the slot to Stefan Beauvais, who is in the right place. shoveled back down the boards, kept in the Havoc zone for the time being as Pulowski puts the pressure on Alec Brandrup and has to back off. 28 seconds to go in the period. 2-0 Huntsville remains your score. And Brandrup has possession behind his own net. Pulowski and Cousineau will switch places. And will do so again. Brandrup makes the breakout pass up the right side. It's redirected by Greg Burmaster. And now circling back with it in his own zone is Brandrup. His pass ricochets off the stick of Stepan Timofeyev. Oscar Arfelt goes up to Pirog with it, who just tips it into Huntsville ice, and that's done it for period 1. 2-0 your score through the first 20 minutes of play. Not the start the Mayhem were hoping for, especially when you consider the rust factor and the bus legs. The Havoc, remember folks, they played last night a full 60 minutes, not just 6:14 like the Mayhem did, and they played in a tight checking game against a team that played them very well. The Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, a very good effort defensively by the visitors in that tilt, despite giving up 32 shots. Henry Dill, another impressive performance in net. He stopped 31 of 32. And Max Milasek, who leads the SPHL in wins, was charged with the defeat last night, the regulation defeat, of which he does not have very many. He's got a very impressive record this season of 16-4-2. But even he was not able to backstop the Havoc to victory yesterday. So a tough game against Roanoke yesterday at Von Braun Center for them. And then after the game was over, they got what rest they could and then traveled here to play the Mayhem after a tough defeat last night and losing an hour due to the time change. So a much more challenging schedule over the past 24 hours for the Havoc than there has been for the Mayhem, and yet they were the far superior team in period 1. So the Mayhem are going to have to react accordingly and put together some sort of plan for period 2 to erase the 2-goal deficit. The good news for them, the Havoc are no Pensacola, folks. Pensacola, a team where if you're down 2-0, it means a lot more than if you're down 2-0 to Huntsville. And that's not meant as a knock on Huntsville by any stretch of the imagination. That is only meant as a means of saying that those two teams have very different styles of play. The Havoc, a much more aggressive team than the Ice Flyers. Much stronger offensive team. They score more, but they also give up more odd man rushes. So the Mayhem are going to have to try to capitalize on some of these chances that they'll likely have in period 1. Though, to be honest with you folks, they did not have a whole heck of a lot in the opening 20-minute stanza. Right now, the shots on goal showing 5-5 through the first 20 minutes of play. Again, 2-0 your score in favor of the visiting Huntsville Havoc. Tyler Piacentini opened the scoring, followed by a contribution from their captain, Scott Trask. And here we stand at 2-0 in favor of the Havoc. 20 seconds in, the goal coming from Piacentini, followed by Trask's at 9:42. Nothing happened in the second half of period 1 in terms of goals, but there were a couple of penalties, both of which were called against Alec Brandrup on Caleb Cameron, neither of which resulted in Macon power play goals. We've got about 17 minutes or so of intermission time before we bring you second period hockey here at the Macon Centreplex. So in the meantime, folks, please enjoy this first intermission interview with the newest addition to the Macon Mayhem, defenseman out of Sweden, Oscar Arfelt, who came to the Mayhem earlier this week in exchange for Stathis Umelitis and Jarrett Cupp. Bo McHugh and Brett Johnson also parts of the trade from the Fayetteville Marksmen, but Arfelt is the only player from that trade who is here this weekend. So hear from Oscar momentarily here, folks. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 2-0 Huntsville, your score through the first 20 minutes of play. We'll be back before you know it.
Hey, welcome back, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us tonight on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on SPHL Live, powered by Endeavor Streaming, and on YouTube. Alex Von Coydel, the voice of your Mayhem, happy to have you with us for this first intermission report, and I had the privilege of being joined by one of the newest additions to the Mayhem defenseman number 67, Oscar Arfelt. Oscar, first off, thanks so much for joining me and appreciate your time.
No, of course. Happy to be here.
So, Oscar, I wanted to ask you about something. You joined the Mayhem earlier this week. You got to practice with the team. You played in a game for a little bit last night, maybe 2 or 3 shifts, I would say. But what have been some of your first impressions playing with this team so far and under Coach Michael?
It seems to be a great group of guys. You know, everyone shows up, works hard. unfortunately in the game yesterday, we only saw, was it 6 minutes or something? But no, Coach Ryan seems nice. Vocal, talks, like he's very clear of what he wants from us, and yeah, I mean, obviously we're not where we want to be in the standings, but I feel like with this group of guys we could turn it around.
Yeah, and I feel like you might, in particularly, have a good bond with Coach Michaels. He used to be a defenseman, played probably a similar style to what you like to play. And I wanted to ask you something else, because it seems like for you in particular, you've maybe been a little bit cursed of late with things happening in games in Fayetteville with the Zamboni breakdown, and then I think it was the next game when you were traded here, and then this happens with the boards. So my question to you is, do you feel like you're cursed or something like that? Do you believe in superstitions?
Not really, but I mean, if it happens again tonight, I might have to check something out, see someone about it, because, yeah, I guess 2 is a fluke, 3 is a curse, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, the first time it happened, it didn't end up too bad for you. You actually got the game-winning goal in the shootout, and it's interesting to me because you're kind of a bigger guy. You've got pretty good size, and you're a defenseman, and from what Coach Michaels described to me, you've got pretty good hands, and you like to, dangle a little bit in the shootout. So I guess for our fans who might not know better, would you kind of describe the game that you like to play and maybe draw a comparable to an NHL player that you look up to?
I'm just like to see myself as a more offensive-minded defenseman. I like to have the puck on my stick and move it quick. I work on my defensive game, but being smart, I'd say I'm a smart hockey player all over the ice. Who I like Hedman and Strawman, kind of like two-way defensemen, but with a little more offensive flair. That's kind of how I want to be, and I would like to play my game. So.
Definitely, and a couple of your countrymen as well, both from Sweden. And I wanted to ask you a little bit about Sweden because I went a couple of years ago during the summer. I visited Stockholm with my cousin, and I know for a fact firsthand how prolific you guys are in speaking multiple languages. So I'm assuming you speak several. What languages do you speak?
Well, I'm fluent in Swedish and English. Then I took 4 years of French and then 2 years of Italian. But yeah, no. That's kind of long gone, though. I can say hello pretty much. That's it, yeah.
The same thing happened to me when I was a kid with German. I don't remember much of it anymore, unfortunately. But, all right, Oscar, just a couple more questions for you. You chose the number 67, which I thought was a little bit curious, more so interesting. What kind of went into that decision?
Nothing in particular. I've always liked odd numbers, kind of stand out a little bit. They're not the most common ones, so that was my only mindset when I got a few options, so.
Yeah, well, that makes sense. Going from you were 3 in Fayetteville. Yeah, much more common number to a more exotic number. So that's great, and you might be the only 67 in our league, maybe 1 or 2 others. But all right, Oscar, I got just one more question for you. Huntsville's in town tonight. They're the 2-time defending champs here. You've played them when you were with Fayetteville before. But for this being what we hope to be your first full game with the Mayhem, I guess what's kind of your game plan for having a good game here tonight in your debut?
I know they're very skilled defensively. They have a couple forwards that can definitely hurt you. But you got to stay sound, stay on the defensive side, and if you play defense first, you're going to get your opportunities up front. So you got to play a solid defensive game and use our chances when we get them.
Definitely, and our fans certainly look forward to seeing you in action for really the first full time for 60 minutes. Oscar, again, really appreciate your time and good luck out there tonight.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Oscar Arfelt, number 67 for your Macon Mayhem. This has been your first intermission report. We'll be back in just a moment with your out-of-town scoreboard update and more right after this.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of SPHL Calls of the Week. From Roanoke, I'm Brian Gardner. The action continued in the SPHL this week, and of course it's time to let you know how it sounded from some of the radio voices around the league. Let's jump in. We'll begin on Friday night in Peoria, where the first-place Rivermen had their hands full with the last-place Mayhem. A hard-fought game through 60 minutes had the score tied at 1, so we moved into overtime. The vaunted Rivermen attack could only be held at bay for so long. Here's the voice of the Rivermen, Andrew Mossbrooks. Shot! Net stays open! McMartin with a shot! The Eminent with a drive! A second, a third, Grant empty net, they score! A sea of chances, and Robin Hoagland is there in the overtime finish. Hoagland's 8th goal of the season wraps this one up. The Rivermen get 2 points. They're 22-4-3 and winners of a 2-1 final here against the Macon Mayhem. And the momentum from Hoagland's game winner then carried into Saturday as the Rivermen beat the Mayhem 5-2 to complete the weekend sweep. On Saturday, the Birmingham Bulls were at home to take on the Huntsville Havoc, fresh off of a 3-2 shootout win over the Ice Flyers in Pensacola. The Bulls fell into a 2-0 hole in the first, but would erase that deficit late in the period. Off to Eli Gold.
The Bulls dump the puck in. Here's Golka behind the net. He'll stop on a dime, loses the puck. It's into the slot. A wrist shot, scores! Jorad from Golka. And Birmingham on the board on a power play goal.
And just over a minute later, they'd tie the game. Back to Eli for the call.
It bounces to Barber. Barber around near side Palmerville, watching on the short side. He scores! Barber, where seemingly no opening existed. Barber beating De La Verne to the short side, and the hockey game is tied.
That was the first of 3 goals for Barber, whose hat trick helped the Bulls to a 6-2 win on Saturday night, their 4th win in a row. Now let's finish off the week in Pensacola, where the Rail Yard Dogs were visiting the Ice Flyers on the team's $5 weekend. A Garrett Milan goal late in the third would tie the game at 2 and force overtime, but the Dogs would get the last laugh. Here's my call from the hangar. Jeff Jones has an edge. Jones to the net. Jones with a backhand save made. Rebound. Stuff home. And they score. That's Brent Sherwood. He silences the crowd against his former team. And Roanoke takes it in overtime. Sherwood, the game winner, and your final score this evening from Pensacola. In overtime, Roanoke 3 and Pensacola 2. Playing against his former team, Brant Sherwood silenced a crowd of over 8,000, and the Rail Yard Dogs took the extra point in overtime, 3-2. That's all we've got for this edition of SPHL Calls of the Week. Until next week, I'm Brian Gardner.
Are you looking to raise some money for a cause and have a blast while doing it? The Mayhem would be happy to help you out through our fundraiser program, available for all home games throughout the season. You buy tickets from us for $10 each, you sell them for $15, and you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whichever cause your heart desires. If you were to sell 50 tickets, for example, you would collect $250 for your fundraiser. Call our office at 478-803-1592 for more information. Beloved Family 4-Pack is back. The Mayhem are offering this incredibly affordable package for several games throughout the season. For just $50, you receive 4 tickets and a $30 gift card to Texas Roadhouse at 5080 Riverside Drive right here in Macon. The dates for these 4-pack nights will be announced on social media as they become finalized, so be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for all the most up-to-date content. Trying to plan out a night of fun for an upcoming birthday? Why not spend it right here with the Mayhem? The Tommy's Bakery and Cafe Birthday Suite is available right here at the Macon Centreplex for all home games during the 2019-20 season. The birthday suite comes chock full of benefits, including 12 tickets, a private suite area with a great view of the ice, donuts from Tommy's Bakery, a visit from Mac the Mascot, and a special present for the birthday child. All of this for just $250, with additional tickets available for $12 each. Visit MaconMayhem.com or call our office for more information. Good news, Mayhem fans. The group outing package you know and love is back for the 2019-20 season. If you bring a group of 10 or more people, you receive discounted tickets at $13 a piece, reserved seating, free hats, t-shirts, or pucks for each member of your group, and an experience upgrade of your choosing. Set upgrades include the High Five Tunnel, Bench Buddies, a picture on the ice after the game, and much more. Just be sure to call our office at 478-803-1592 in advance, and we'll get you all squared away. Okay, welcome back, everybody. Well, we apologize for that delay, but we hope that you enjoyed those commercials along with the intermission interview with Mayhem defenseman Oscar Arfelt, who has made his presence known early since joining the Mayhem. He got a pretty good scoring chance in this period, which he, for the most part, generated for himself. He did receive a nice pass from Steven Pirog, but were it not for his skillful keep along the right half boards near the right point, he would not have gotten that opportunity to begin with. So caps off to Oscar Arfelt. We're very happy to have him here, and he generated a nice little opportunity, honestly, one of Macon's best opportunities in that first period. Unfortunately for him, I believe his shot was blocked and flew out of play. But we hope you enjoyed hearing from him. Like I said earlier, nice young man. It was good getting to meet him earlier and asking him about a few things. He told me, I just assumed that he was fluent in several languages, which he is, of course, being from Sweden. That's almost a requirement there these days. I had the luxury of being able to travel to Stockholm a couple of years ago and was just absolutely blown away by how prolific everybody was speaking English. If they realized you were an American or didn't speak the native tongue, they would immediately switch over and seamlessly with little to no accent at all. It was very impressive. Oscar, for the most part, was the exact same way. So good meeting him. We're happy to have him. Oh, and then we hope you enjoyed listening to the SPHL Calls of the Week as well, featuring Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs broadcaster Brian Gardner, who does an outstanding job each and every week putting those compilations together. We've got about 4 minutes or so, folks, before second period hockey is brought your way from the Macon Centreplex. A few things to note from the first 20 minutes of play. Macon did not get the start that they really needed to get in this game, folks. They are playing a team that has had a much more arduous 24 hours than they have, and you've got to be able to take advantage of the bus legs. And you're defending your home turf against a team that played last night. You've got to put forth a better first few shifts than the Mayhem did, and they paid the price for it. They now trail 2-0 heading into the first intermission against a team that has been one of the best teams in this league for years. And they're back-to-back defending champions. And yes, the Mayhem have defeated them once this season, but that was a long time ago. That was 3.5 months ago. And we're at a point now where the Mayhem really have to start looking at every single game as a must-win, because the end of the season will be here before you know it. And there are only, for Macon, there are, after tonight, 22 games left for the rest of the season, which is even fewer than it sounds, and far less than half of those games are on home ice. So these are just games that the Mayhem cannot afford to let get away from them, and they've really got to pick things up in period 2. When trailing after one period, the Mayhem with a record of just 3-9-0. However, on home ice, that record is much better. They're actually 3-2-0 when trailing after one on home ice. So in this situation at home, they've won more games than they've lost. Oddly enough, this is sort of an anomaly, but they have had a better record when trailing after one at home than they have when tied after one. When tied after one at home, the Mayhem just 2-5-3, but when trailing after one, they're 3-2-0 at the Macon Centreplex. So just sort of just a head scratcher of a statistic, I suppose you could say, but one that most of our audience probably isn't too interested in regardless. It's a pretty obscure statistic. Let's take a look around the Southern Professional Hockey League for some out-of-town scoreboard updates brought to you by Hampton Inn and Suites. Again, the Mayhem trailing the Huntsville Havoc by a 2-0 score with contributions on the visiting front from Tyler Piacentini and Scott Trask. Elsewhere, Roanoke hosts the Pensacola Ice Flyers, who played here in Macon for 6 minutes yesterday and then traveled up to Roanoke. The Ice Flyers currently trailing the Rail Yard Dogs by a 1-0 score, which is bad news for the Mayhem, as that is the team they are trying to chase in the standings. The Knoxville Ice Bears hosting the Fayetteville Marksmen. At the moment, they trail to Jesse Kalecki's squad by a 2-0 score. The Quad City Storm, the Peoria Rivermen, still scoreless, about 7 minutes into that contest, and 3 minutes into the Evansville-Birmingham game, also scoreless. This has been your out-of-town scoreboard update brought to you by Hampton Inn and Suites. Taking a closer look into the Fayetteville game in Knoxville tonight, Jarrett Cupp, who was traded to the Marksmen earlier this week, scored a goal for Fayetteville already. Just his first game there, 18:31 into period one. Jarrett Cupp lit the lamp. He was set up by Shane Bednard and Taylor McCloy. So congratulations to Jarrett, and we hope he's enjoying his time up with the Fayetteville Marksmen. And he is somebody that Ryan Michael did not want to let go, but he was at a crossroads. He needed to make some changes that would help to benefit this team. And with the pieces he received in exchange, it's certainly understandable why he did that trade, why he made the trade. But regardless, congratulations to Jarrett Cupp on his first goal with the Fayetteville Marksmen. In just his first game. Did not take him long whatsoever. Cupp also received a penalty. He was actually the first player into the box in that game up in Knoxville. He was found guilty of tripping, 7:48 into the first period. Meanwhile, this game, the one that you're all here to see, is just about back underway at the Macon Centreplex. We're so thankful to have you with us tonight. Regardless of which team you're rooting for, thanks for joining us on SPHL Live and on YouTube. Both teams at full strength to kick off period two. Steven Pirog and Cy Nukovic will take part in the opening face-off to kick off the second, and we are back underway. Pat Condon will scoop it up and shovel it into the left corner of the Macon zone. Oscar Arfelt is there. He'll try to backhand it behind his own net to De Oliveira, who wraps it around to the far wall. And a pinching Saverio Posa, able to keep it in the attacking zone momentarily, but is now forced out of there. Just roll back out to the red line and dump it back in. The Mayhem have made a goaltending change. Hayden Stewart is out there to start period two. Kevin Etma has been pulled, and Stewart is in. Posa at the red line. Shovels it off of De Oliveira. Scooped up by Lynch on the back check while falling has cleared the zone. Now here's Trask, who is set up and across the Macon blue line. He was closed off by Oscar Arfelt. Punched up the wall past Keplinger, who will leave it now for Arfelt in the neutral zone. Up to Pirog. Across the blue line to Denemy. Back to Pirog. Good little give and go play, but it's just outside of Pirog's reach. Arfelt will now twist it down to the far corner. Pat Condon backhands the pass up to Scott Trask. Trask is forced to turn from the far corner, puts it into his own slot, and it's whacked out past the blue line by Sean Bates. Bates puts on the brakes above the right circle. Will then slide the puck to the left point. And it's Alec Brandrup tapping it down to the adjacent corner where it's Ben Campbell, who will attempt to shovel it back out of his own zone. Brandrup cut it off and shot through traffic. His shot was denied by Stewart's pads, and the puck's gone out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 18:30 to go here in period two. 2-0 the score in favor of Huntsville. Their first period goals came off the sticks of Tyler Piacentini just 20 seconds in, and then Scott Trask at 9:42. Sean Bates will take this offensive zone draw for Huntsville, but he's beaten cleanly by Colton Wolter. Wolter now fighting for it along the near corner boards. It is Greg Burmaster for Huntsville, who will wheel back up to the point with it and leave it off for Palmerville, whose shot is blocked by Campbell. Whacked off the near wall. Keplinger failed to clear it. And it's Sean Bates ricocheting it back up the boards for Chance Baird. Bates from the left corner, trying to center for Baird, never reached him. Keplinger sends it to Timofeyev on the far side. Timofeyev dumps it in past Brandrup, goes in after it. He's got his stick tied up. Brandrup takes him into the corner boards and off the puck. 2-0 Huntsville remains your score with 17:50 to go in the second period. Josh Kuzno will twist it down to Timofeyev, who centers it. Wolter is in tight, couldn't really pull the trigger. So he's harassed by Sean Bates, and a 5 or 6 player scrap was taking place in behind the Huntsville cage, but the Havoc are out to center with it as it's going to be Greg Burmaster sliding it across to Alex Palmerville. Palmerville has cleared it out to center. Bates lifts his skates to allow the puck to pass through. Mike Ciamello will scoop it up in his own zone and wheel behind his own net with it. Zach Urban From his own corner, up to Jamello on the right wing side. He pumps it into Huntsville ice and goes battling for it along the end wall with Pat Condon. A diving shot attempt was made there by Pawlowski, but to no avail. And here comes Sharkey the other way for the Havoc across the blue line. Durar left side, put it across, hoping for Sharkey. Just missed his stick. It was about too far in front of him by probably 6 inches or so. And Zemlitska will rattle it around to the near side. Jamello waiting for it. And a good step was made by Stefan Beauvais to prevent Jamello from advancing it. Urban to Zemlitska, near corner of the Macon zone. Good step by Stefan Beauvais to keep the Huntsville attack going. Pawlowski is given a pretty good size hit by Baxter Cantor, but the Mayhem are out to center with it. Zemlitska chips it into Huntsville ice. Out of his net is Mike Delaverne, who's pressured by Lynch. He wraps it around to the far wall. Steven Pirog is there. Pirog against Piacentini. It's won by the former of the two and recovered at center. Now it's Lynch in front of his own bench. Lynch will pump one through. Pirog is able to one-hand it further, but he is held on to for a couple of seconds by Stefan Beauvais, which bought his team enough time to recover the puck. Beauvais up into the neutral zone for Trask, who was leveled by Keplinger at center. Now here come the Mayhem. Dylan Denemy down the right side. He's got lots of help in tow. He will drop the puck off to Keplinger, but he was picked up first by Severio Posa before Keplinger could play it. Denemy down the far wing, his off wing. He cuts in behind the net, shovels a pass in front. Here's a quick wrist shot that gets blocked. Nukovic's attempted clear goes off the stick of Pirog, stays in the Huntsville zone. And now from the right point, it's Alex de Oliveira. There's a hurt Huntsville player in the far corner. Nukovic the other way, steps into the slot, drops it off. And it's Durar had his backhand shot blocked. Piacentini is injured. He's trying to limp off the ice and back onto the Havoc bench. Walter down the right wing side, puts it onto his backhand and centers it. It was intercepted by Chance Baird. And Baird takes Timofeyev into the near corner. Timo stays on the puck, dips his shoulder, cuts to the front of the net and loses it. Now it's Keplinger, far half wall. Leaves it to the left point. Smith turns it at the net, redirected just wide by Timofeyev. Collected near corner. Colton Walters got it. Tries to gain some separation, loses the puck, but it's held in the zone by Smith. Smith tries to kick it down the boards, gets it as far as Timofeyev, right circle, who will shoot. Blocker save made by Mike Delaverne. Left point, tap back down in behind the net. It's Timofeyev again, who's closed off the puck along the end wall. Keplinger back to Timofeyev, sets up shop and centers all the way through. Drive, score! David Pawlowski has given the Mayhem the first goal of the game. It's 2-1 in favor of Huntsville. Pawlowski with a rocket from the slot, his 4th goal of the season, and the Mayhem are back to within 1. You had to feel that coming, folks. Just a surge of momentum in the Huntsville zone. They were having great difficulty clearing the puck. The Mayhem just all over them, chance after chance. Stepan Timofeyev, Josh Keplinger doing some very impressive knife work in behind the Huntsville cage. And David Pawlowski, the beneficiary of that pass from Timofeyev from beneath the goal line. He set up shop down there. He was really just making that his office. And Pawlowski from the mid to high slot just unleashed a slap shot that went right through Mike Delaverne and has given the Mayhem some life. They now trail by just a goal. It's 2-1 Havoc. Here comes Stefan Beauvais, a smooth skating defenseman who will punch the puck into the left corner area. And now it's going to be scooped up on the far side. Josh Kuzno backhands it in below his own goal line. Zemlitska's got it. He's under pressure. He gets it out to Kuzno, far side. Puts it into his own slot. Mike Jamello gets rid of it. And Zach Urban has just pumped it down the ice into Huntsville territory. It'll be played by Stefan Beauvais. Timofeyev and Keplinger on the assists to Pawlowski's 4th goal of the season. And they ended up giving it to Smith instead of Timofeyev. And that will have to be fixed. Durar drops it to the far corner for Kyle Sharkey. Alec Brandrup puts it in behind the net. Now in the near corner, Durar's got it. Up to Bates, left circle. Bates twists and turns and has it on his backhand. Will now leave it at the line. Alec Brandrup left circle with a shot. Pinball's wide of the net, thrown back in front. Lynch is there. He'll commence the counterattack for Macon. They could get a 2-on-1. Denemy picks up the puck off the boards. He's got Pirog. The pass intended for him. Broken up by a diving Condon. And that has nullified that opportunity. But Pirog, while going down to a knee, is blocked with his shot. But Denemy was hooked on the way through. Has drawn another penalty for Macon. This will be their 3rd consecutive power play. And the Mayhem man advantage has yet to convert, but has another opportunity here with momentum on their side. David Pulowski with his fourth Macon goal of the season. A blast from the mid to high slot set up by Timofeyev and Keplinger. The assist was given to Smith instead of Timofeyev, which, Smith with some of his family in attendance, I'm sure he would love to get that assist, but unfortunately that will not be the case. I'm guessing that the referee mixed up the numbers 2 and 12 just because of the 2 on Timofeyev's jersey, but that primary assist belongs to Timofeyev. He's the one who set up Pulowski from the pass from below the net, and Pulowski received the pass from Timofeyev and just blasted a slap shot through traffic. 13:20 to go in the second period. The Mayhem with the most recent goal and a power play to work with coming up. Pat Condon in the box for Huntsville. All 3 of Huntsville's penalty kills have been due to a defenseman going to the box, which, if you're trying to kill off a penalty, those are not the people you want to be in the sin bin. Defensemen are obviously paramount to killing off penalties. But regardless, Huntsville's penalty kill has looked very strong tonight. Cy Nukovic to take a defensive zone draw against the SPHL veteran Josh Cousineau. And now it's Cameron getting it to Timofeyev in the left corner. He will shovel the puck up to the blue line. Oscar Arfelt to Josh Keplinger above the right circle. He'll go to the goal line for David Pulowski, or rather Cousineau. They switch places. Keplinger side of the net. He'll give it back up to the blue line. Arfelt head fake. Keplinger right circle. Cousineau flutters the puck across the ice. Stepan Timofeyev's got it near the left point. He will skate it down the half wall, far side. He delays in the far corner, centers it. Nobody's there except for Huntsville's Cy Nukovic, who has just calmly skated it out to center and dumped it in below the Macon cage. 1:20 to go in this Wild Wing Cafe power play. Oscar Arfelt's got it behind his own net. He will allow Dylan Denemy to pass through. Arfelt with a nice head fake to get Sharkey out of position. Denemy down the left side, and the Mayhem on a delayed offside. Huntsville could commence a shorthanded counterattack. Sharkey will skate it down his off wing. He is able to slip through Zach Urban. Gets the puck back after it caromed off the end wall. And Urban is now pinning up Sharkey to the boards. 50 seconds remain on this Macon power play. Urban from behind his own net. Gives it up to Colton Wolter on his right. Wolter across the Huntsville blue line. Squeezes by a check. Carries it into the Huntsville trapezoid. Then sets up Urban at the far point. He will give it to the right point. Denemy's long shot. Blocked. It looks like it hit Beauvais on the way through. Here's Pirog with the interception. He misfired. It bounces back in front. They whack away at it from the side of the goal. And it comes loose into the near circle, and it'll be cleared by Huntsville. 15 seconds to go on this Macon power play. Sean Bates having just cleared it all the way down the ice. Hayden Stewart leaves it to Zach Urban. Time enough for one quick rush here on this Macon man advantage, which has struggled tonight. Zach Urban slips around a check, but then loses it to the second man, Nukovic, in the neutral zone. And Ben Campbell is pickpocketed by Tyler Piacentini. Good to see him out there again after he looked like he was in some distress earlier. Keplinger through center. Had a lot of ice time in this game. He has an assist to show for it already. However, the Mayhem have dropped their third straight power play. They're now 0 for 3 on the night on the man advantage. Huntsville still making changes from that successful penalty kill. Saverio Posa, in the meantime, has it behind his own net. David Pulowski, Macon's goal scorer, begins the forecheck. Cy Nukovic swoops in behind his goal line to tag up and begin racing down the right side, hoping for a breakout pass. Instead, it sent D from Sova to Palmerville. And now it's deep in Macon territory. Dug out of there by Cameron. Worked up to Chamello on the right wing side. Chamello makes a neat pass to Larry Smith, left wing, joined by Pulowski and Chamello. Smith's shot is punched away by De Laverne with the blocker. Now Chamello is held up along the far half wall by Alex Palmerville. Loose puck rolls back down towards Chamello. He gets some help from Pulowski, who's pinned up by Saverio Posa. Chamello attempted to center, broken up by Palmerville. And now Darr's got it, far side. Can't clear it past Cameron. Left point Smith, trying to settle down a rolling puck. Had a shot, just missed the far side post. And now it'll be Pulowski, right point. Holds it at the zone, in the zone rather. He had his wrist shot blocked, however, by Baxter Cantor. And now it's Caleb Cameron. Up to the left point, Alex De Oliveira, Chamello, Cousineau, bobbled it in the slot, and Huntsville is out to center with it. Larry Smith is back on it. Check that, De Oliveira. Now it's Arfelt, who floats it into neutral territory, played with a Huntsville high stick. The refs play advantage. Slap shot by Cousineau, denied by Mike De Laverne. 9:36 to go in the second period, 2-1 in favor of the Huntsville Havoc, with their goals coming both in the first period. Tyler Piacentini and Scott Trask lighting the lamp in that order, followed by a slap shot taken by David Pawlowski, which brought the Mayhem back to within a goal. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. Thanks for joining us. You're listening to Macon Mayhem Hockey on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. 9:36 to go in the second, 2-1 Huntsville as your score.
Are you looking to raise some money for a cause and have a blast while doing it? The Mayhem would be happy to help you out through our fundraiser program, available for all home games throughout the season. You buy tickets from us for $10 each, you sell them for $15, and you keep the remaining $5 per ticket sold for whichever cause your heart desires. If you were to sell 50 tickets, for example, you would collect $250 for your fundraiser. Call our office at 478-803-1592 for more information.
So the Mayhem about to go to an offensive zone face-off. It'll be Josh Cousineau taking the draw. Cousineau, after the addition of Colton Wolter, has kind of had to shift over from left wing to center occasionally. He and David Pawlowski have been kind of interchangeable with the center and left wing position. But before Colton Wolter was traded here in exchange for Marcus Ortiz, who had 7 shots against Huntsville last night with the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs. Before that trade took place, Cousineau strictly played center for the Mayhem. Now he's playing a little wing because Colton Wolter has kind of slid into that second line center spot. Now another serviceable centerman, Caleb Cameron, steps in to replace Cousineau, who was kicked out of the draw. Cameron wins the puck. Good battle in the corner. The puck is tapped along from Timofeyev over to Pawlowski. Arfelt will pick it up, far half wall, above the left circle now. Loses the puck, and DeOliveira's got to hurry back. Chance Baird, counterattack, right side. He slams on the brakes and leaves it, and storming into the zone comes Greg Burmaster. He overskates the puck, loses it behind the Macon net, and it's given off from Cameron to Timofeyev, and now DeOliveira had his pass go off the back of Timofeyev's skates. DeOliveira will get a second chance at a crisp breakout. He makes it this time, and Timofeyev just tips it into Huntsville ice. Pat Condon whacks it off the boards. Timofeyev cuts it off. What a period he's had. And he's going to take it back out to neutral territory and drop it back to Oscar Arfelt. Now it's Zach Urban slapping one around the end wall clockwise out to the near point, near corner rather, and Sean Lynch puts the pressure on Pat Condon. The Havoc have quickly exited their own zone. Bates pumps it into Macon territory. It's left off by Hayden Stewart, and Zach Urban's got it on his tape now. He will fling it off the stick of Pirog into the jumping glove of Mike DeLaverne, who will take a whistle. 8:27 to go here in period 2. The Havoc with a 2-1 lead, but Macon on its way back. They've scored the lone goal of this second period thus far. David Pawlowski doing the honors to bring the Mayhem back to within a goal. David Pawlowski, the former Wenatchee Wild, Nazareth College graduate, has had a couple of stints here with the Mayhem this season. Tomorrow, assuming he plays, he will have played as many games here as he has in the Federal Prospects League this season, and he has certainly made a case to be a full-time player on this roster. John Lynch, left point. Point-to-point pass to Zach Urban. His shot was blocked by a Huntsville face. Right corner, Pirog puts it in front. Ricochets wide. I believe it was Scott Trask who blocked the Urban shot with his face. It might have gone off of Trask's stick and pinballed up and off his face, but either way it looked painful, and we hope he's okay. Trask clearly seems to be okay as he's stayed out there. Dylan Denemy intercepting the puck on the back check will play it into the Huntsville zone from the red line. Colton Wolter down the right wing side. He's pursued by Severio Poso. Wolter battling hard for it along the end wall. He's outnumbered, but is trying to wait for some reinforcements to arrive from the Macon bench. One of them, Josh Keplinger, is down there helping him out. Wolter kicks it up to his stick, protects the puck nicely. He spins, gets it down to the corner. Wolter fighting extremely hard on this shift, trying to make something happen for the Mayhem. Right corner. Dispossessed of it eventually by Tyler Piacentini, but the Mayhem quickly swarm back on it. Josh Keplinger, right half wall. He looks, he centers it. Chamello was there, but he wasn't looking at it. It went between his skates. Campbell with a good step down the half wall to keep the attack going. Keplinger is tied up in the right corner for the time being with Stefan Beauvais. Wolter, after a very long and tiresome shift, will just shift gears and go back to the Macon bench to get a well-deserved line change. Kyle Sharkey through center. Friendly fire collision at the Macon blue line in the other zone, rather the Huntsville blue line. Sharkey wheels wide on Ben Campbell and puts the puck in front skillfully. It's been whacked to the half wall near side. Brandrup slap shot, kick save Stewart, and now it's fought for by Dave Nippert in the near corner, who eventually loses it, and it's been whacked off the glass and down by Mike Ciamello. Kyle Sharkey's got it in Huntsville territory with 6:15 to go in period 2. Wrapped around to the near half wall. Rob Darr is there. Ben Campbell at his own blue line. Floats it up to Cousineau. Sharkey intercepts it. Will commence a counterattack for the Havoc. Right circle, kick save rather, and they score on the rebound. A save made by Hayden Stewart. The rebound bounced right to Rob Darrar, who leads the league in shots. Had a wide open net to shoot at. And Stewart not happy with himself. You can see it. He made the initial save with his blocker, but the rebound went right to Rob Darrar. Really a perfect bounce for him in the Havoc, and the visitors are back up by a pair. It's 3-1 Huntsville. Pirog receives a long pass from Arfelt. Had his shot go off of the mask of De La Verne. Now it's Condon down the right wing. Defended by Sean Lynch. Hayden Stewart leaves it behind his own net. It's been given up the near wall. Stephen Pirog leaves it for Dylan Denemy, who shovels it up towards the Huntsville bench. Sean Lynch whacks it into Huntsville territory. In pursuit of it, Stefan Beauvais. Beauvais is checked pretty hard by Pirog into the end wall, but the Havoc out of their own zone. It's brought through center across the Macon blue line and given off for a quick shot that's denied by the shoulder of Hayden Stewart. And now in the near half wall, 5 or 6 players fight for it. Pat Condon swoops in to try to win possession back for the Havoc. He gets it into the slot, and it's Nukovic dropping it back to the line. Posa's long drive is absorbed by Hayden Stewart. We're inside of the closing 5 minutes. We're going to head to our third and final media timeout of period 2. 3-1 Huntsville, your score through the first 15:04 of period 2.
Mayhem are offering this incredibly affordable package for several games throughout the season. For just $50, you receive 4 tickets and a $30 gift card to Texas Roadhouse at 5080 Riverside Drive right here in Macon. The dates for these 4-pack nights will be announced on social media as they become finalized, so be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for all the most up-to-date content. Trying to plan out a night of fun for an upcoming birthday? Why not spend it right here with the Mayhem? The Tommy's Bakery and Cafe Birthday Suite is available right here at the Macon Centreplex for all home games during the 2019-20 season. The birthday suite comes chock full of benefits, including 12 tickets, a private suite area with a great view of the ice, donuts from Tommy's Bakery, a visit from Mac the Mascot, and a special present for the birthday child. All of this for just $250, with additional tickets available for $12 each. Visit MaconMayhem.com or call our office for more information.
So we're back and ready to go here for the rest of period 2. 4:54 to go as a quick shot from the slot by Posa is denied by Stewart. He found himself pretty open in the mid-slot, but Stewart was equal to the task. The Mayhem had a lot of momentum until it was just quelled by Huntsville's Rob Darrar, who got a very fortuitous bounce off the blocker of Hayden Stewart. Credit Kyle Sharkey, who put the puck on net, didn't try to be too fancy with it, just fired it at an area in which he knew he could generate a rebound, and that's exactly what he did. If he tries to go glove side, that's a whole nother story. And to all you young hockey players tuned in out there, if you're coming down the ice on an odd man rush or a potential odd man rush, more often than not, it's probably best to shoot at the side of the goaltender that is closest to whomever you're joined by on the odd man rush. And that's what Sharkey did. He shot far side on Hayden Stewart because he knew it might create a rebound for Durar, and that's exactly what he did. But what a move by Colton Wolter, who dipped his shoulder and crashed the net. Generated a pretty good scoring opportunity for the Mayhem. Unfortunately, couldn't finish it off. That would have been a highlight reel goal for number 19 in blue, who the fans are seeing for the first time on home ice this season. Spectacular individual effort by Colton Wolter just moments ago. A nice butterfly save was made by Mike De Laverne. Mayhem will get an offensive zone face-off to De Laverne's left in the right circle of the Huntsville zone. David Pulowski, the lone Macon goal scorer, the man to take the draw against Rob Durar. He wins it. Timofeyev, right circle. Will give it down to Keplinger, right corner. Josh Keplinger to Timofeyev is brought down. No penalty. Sharkey, left wing. Sends it over to Durar, chips it off the boards, and it's Dave Nippert who is caught on an offside, and the whistle blows stopping play. The faceoff will be in front of the Huntsville bench. Dave Nippert is playing his fourth game with the Havoc tonight. He's already on his fourth team this season. He's played in Peoria as well as Carolina and Port Huron in the Federal Prospects League. Future zone faceoff won by Durar, and Stepan Timofeyev whacked the puck down out of midair with his glove. Brandrup in the meantime back in control. Timofeyev with his outstretched stick couldn't take possession back. It's been blasted in by Beauvais. Loose puck dangerously skitters atop the crease, and Zach Urban has gotten it out of harm's way. Timofeyev down the left wing side, cuts into the slot, maintains possession, slips it across. Beautiful pass, a shot, stopped by De Laverne. Stepan Timofeyev is having a night to remember, folks. It's just a shame he didn't get credit for that assist in which he set up David Pulowski. He will obviously get it eventually, but he has just been, particularly in this second period, he has been all over the Havoc in their zone. He has given the Mayhem so many scoring opportunities with his soft hands and his playmaking skills. He's also displayed a stellar work ethic throughout this game as well. I recall in the first period him diving just to prevent an icing call. He dove and redirected the puck on net from center ice, which resulted in a whistle and an offensive zone face-off instead of an icing. Little things like that can go a long way. 3:46 to go in period two. 3-1 Huntsville your score. Stephen Pirog to take the offensive zone face-off against Dave Nippert. Check that, it is Sean Bates taking the draw for the Havoc. Bates jumped the gun. He's going to get booted from the circle. Chance Braid will take his place. Braid wins the draw. Pirog jumps on it immediately, then sends it off the side of the cage. Severio Posa. Bates has cleared it. Campbell at the red line. Backhands it up the wall. Here's Denemy crossing over the Huntsville blue line, trying to slip one through for Lynch, who is well covered. The Havoc have cleared it. Chance Braid picks his stick back up, which had fallen for the time being. Lynch tips it into Huntsville ice. Condon is quickly out of his own zone. Here come the Havoc. Left wing side, it's Greg Burmaster entering Macon territory, having to turn. Burmaster pinned up to the near corner. And Larry Smith trying to dig the puck loose with some help from Stephen Pirog. Finally, they move it up the wall. And Smith has his stick lifted by Chance Baird behind the Macon goal line. Now it's Greg Burmaster who will wheel up to the point with it. His pass goes well outside of the blue line, and Condon will just dump it back in. Stewart behind his net makes the play. Cornell University graduate distributes it out to Smith on his left. It was a little bit too hot to handle for him. The Havoc trying to swarm possession back in the offensive zone. And Ben Campbell had difficulty clearing it on the wrong side of the ice. Enemy to Colton Wolter, who kicks it up to his stick, but is outnumbered in the corner 3-1, and the Havoc have gotten it back down into Macon territory. Arfelt tips it, but couldn't get all of it. Now loose at the goal line on the near side. Tyler Piacentini fighting for it. Cimello unable to spring the puck free. Could have given the Mayhem a 3-on-1 with Brandrup having pinched in, but didn't work out. Mike Cimello receives the diagonal pass from Oscar Arfelt and will enter the Huntsville zone with under 2 minutes to play in the second. 3-1 Havoc is your score. And you've got 2 goals from period 1 and 1 from period 2. Colton Wolter punches it ahead, too far for Cimello. Played back to Alex Palmerville for the Havoc. Up the far side, he goes with it. Baxter Cantor coughs possession up to David Pawlowski, who will rim one around to the near half wall. Mike Cimello receives a hit, tries to clear it up the boards. Palmerville kept it and had his shot blocked. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 90 seconds to go in period 2. The Mayhem trailing by a 3-1 margin. Their lone goal coming off the stick of David Pawlowski, which was set up by Stepan Timofeyev, who was parked in behind the Huntsville cage. That goal coming way back at 5:19. Less than 9 minutes later, the Havoc had an answer. Rob Durar finishing off a shot taken by Kyle Sharkey that went off the blocker of Hayden Stewart and bounced right to Rob Durar. Here's an opportunity point blank for Bates, who had it on his backhand but couldn't beat Stewart. Following that offensive zone faceoff win, the Havoc nearly tripling their lead. 1:24 to go in the second. 3-1 Huntsville. Now the faceoff will switch over to the far side. It'll be Pawlowski versus Durar. Puck drops. Pawlowski wins the faceoff. Semlitska wrapped up behind the Macon cage. Couldn't do much with it. Sharkey will wheel to the outside and deliver it back in below the Macon net. It's played in the far corner now by Stefan Beauvais. He will leave it to Durar. Beauvais's got it again behind the Macon cage. He waits, puts it onto his backhand, carries it into the near corner, and will send it out to the far side. Gets a return pass. Beauvais is tied up by Urban. And the Mayhem trying to clear this puck. Nice keep by Durar, but Timofeyev caught lurking behind the defense, sends a puck ahead. Just missed Keplinger, who will take it into the right corner now. Josh Keplinger up to Pawlowski, right point. Bit of a mishandle, but he's able to secure possession and keep it in the attacking zone, but the Mayhem are in the midst of a line change. 37 seconds to go in the period. Scott Trask has it behind his own net. Rather, that's Stefan Beauvais. To Pat Condon, far corner, up the far wall. Puck is redirected out of play, and we get a whistle and a stoppage. 21 seconds to go in the second. 3-1 Havoc. There will be a neutral zone face-off following that Blues Painting and Home Repair flying puck. Stefan Beauvais is a name we've not seen here in Macon before. Another Stevens Point product on this Huntsville team. They've got a couple. He was a point-per-game defenseman over in Sweden this season, but decided to come back stateside. Going to be an icing called against Macon here. No, they wave it off. The puck sort of died. Fortunately for the Mayhem, at the end of the period, the ice is a little chippier and a lot more snow down there, and the puck doesn't carry as well. But regardless, they will go into period 3 down by a pair. They had a nice momentum surge following David Pawlowski's goal. Unfortunately for them, that momentum was quelled by not an equalizer, but a response goal scored by Rob Durar. I've been told a few different pronunciations. But the league's leader in shots, we'll call him. He scored his 13th goal of the season, his 32nd point. There was a big rebound off the blocker of Hayden Stewart, who made a nice save on Kyle Sharkey. It wasn't really Stewart's fault. It just took a very fortunate Huntsville bounce off his blocker. As a goaltender, I'm sure he'll probably put at least some of the blame onto himself, thinking he could have controlled the rebound better, but it was just such a hard, heavy shot by Sharkey. It wouldn't surprise me if that's exactly what Sharkey wanted to happen. And Stewart just, he flashed the leather with his blocker, made the save, and the puck just bounced into the near circle where Rob Darr had his stick on the ice and just smashed it home. He was in the right place at the right time. And he regained Huntsville's insurance lead, which they will carry into the third period. So 3-1 is your score through 40 minutes of play. We hope you've enjoyed the broadcast up till this point, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. We're happy to have you with us on SPHL Live, powered by Endeavor, streaming it on YouTube. The Mayhem again trailing by a 3-1 score. We'll take a quick glance around the SPHL for an out-of-town scoreboard update brought to you by Hampton Inn & Suites. For those of you who missed this update, Jarrett Cupp has scored a goal already with his new team, the Fayetteville Marksmen. He buried a goal at 18:31. I have not reached out to my sources in Fayetteville exactly to find out how that goal was scored, but I'll get on to that as soon as I can. But regardless, Cupp, good to see him succeeding with his new team so early. The Marksmen, by the way, leading by a 4-1 score up in Knoxville tonight. Don Oliveri with a pair of goals. Sumalitas had an assist on one of Oliveri's goals. And Jarrett Cupp had one of the goals. So both Mayhem players who were traded to Fayetteville have already gotten onto the score sheet in their first game up with the Marksmen. So again, at 4-1 the score in that tilt in favor of Fayetteville. Peoria up 2-0 over the Quad City Storm in the first intermission. The Birmingham Bulls, the Evansville Thunderbolts, deadlocked in a 1-1 stalemate through period 1. And the Pensacola Ice Flyers still down a goal at the hands of the Roanoke Rail Yard Dogs, who the Mayhem are actually hoping will lose tonight, just because that's the team that they're closest to in the standings right now in the playoff race. So that wraps up your out-of-town scoreboard update, your second of this game, brought to you by Hampton Inn & Suites. Again, folks, the score here in Macon: Huntsville 3, Macon 1. Huntsville with a pair of first-period goals coming off the sticks of Tyler Piacentini and Scott Trask. Macon responding with a strike by David Pawlowski, which came in the 6th minute of period 2. And that goal Pawlowski scored was his 4th of the season. It was a rocket from the slot at 5:19 into the second period. However, Rob Durar had an answer 14:06 into the second, tallying what would end up being his 13th on the campaign, giving the Havoc a 3-1 lead. We're going to step aside, folks. We're going to play back Monday morning's Creekside interview with Tony Doolin, Charles Davis, and our special guest for this week, who was Zach Smith, the Mayhem's very own director of game operations and community relations, who had a lot to say at the onset of this very busy weekend here at the Macon Centreplex. Unfortunately, college night never truly came to fruition yesterday because of the ice issues. But tonight, first responders night, great atmosphere here at the Macon Centreplex. And then tomorrow, we are expecting what will be by far our largest crowd of the season. On a $6 ticket night, alias Pack the Plex night. For those of you who are tuned in and have not gotten your Pack the Plex tickets yet, we invite you to do so. $6 tickets, you can't beat that deal. It's the cheapest single-game ticket deal the Mayhem have ever offered in franchise history. We recommend you to take full advantage of that offer while it is still available. To do so, to purchase your tickets, you can call the Mayhem box office. You can call our front office if it's a group of 10 or more, or you can just swing by the box office right here at 200 Coliseum Drive. You can also purchase them through our website via Ticketmaster. If you go to the MaconMayhem.com website, hover over the tickets tab, scroll down to the single game tickets, click on the game for February 1st against Knoxville, and you can purchase your $6 tickets that way. So we hope to see you out here tomorrow night. But this game is not over yet. 3-1 the score through the first 40 minutes of play. We're going to, like we said, play back that interview with Zach Smith, Tony Doolin, and Charles Davis from Monday morning's Creekside interview on 100.9 The Creek, the official radio promotional partner of the Macon Mayhem. That and more coming your way next, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Again, thanks so much for joining us tonight on SPHL Live and on YouTube.
100.9 The Creek, Real Music, Real Radio, Creekside Mornings, Tony Doolin, Charles Davis. That is Tyler Childers, who did not win a Grammy.
Should have won a Grammy last night.
Country Squire, title track from his last album.
Yola should have won a Grammy last night.
Yeah, but they didn't. But they didn't, Charles.
Throw the whole Grammy away.
You know who else should have won a Grammy for Best Spoken Word Latin Album?
Alex Von Coydle?
Alex Von Coydle from the Macon Mayhem.
No.
Yeah.
Alex Von Coydle, the voice. I didn't even know you were into that. Alex Vancoito, the voice. Voice.
Alex Vancoito. As far as book on tape, Mi Burro es muy grande.
I mean, I know you were nominated for the best electronica hockey announcer intro theme song. Sad you didn't win that either. Robbed of
Alex.
that too. But I mean,
that was a secret.
I mean,
sir.
I'm feeling your pain today, bro.
By the way, you can't download that on iTunes.
I mean, and Spotify if you want to. Make it your ringtone.
99 cents.
Hell of a deal.
Morning, Alex.
I'm trying to. Yeah. Morning.
You want to try again? You want to start over?
Oh, I've written them several times. I just haven't gotten anything back. I guess they didn't like it.
Guess not.
Grammy voters,
Zach
man.
Smith is here. Good morning, Zach.
Morning, guys.
How are
Morning,
you?
man.
Doing pretty well.
Oh, we got a big week.
Yeah.
We got 3 games. Mm-hmm. Thursday, Friday, and Saturday night.
Yes, sir.
Big events for each night, Alex.
Yeah, we can't wait. We've got college night on Thursday.
Come on with it.
We're doing a $10 ticket discount for college students with a college ID. We're looking into getting some drink specials for that night as well.
Now.
Because it is Thirsty Thursday.
Thursday, exactly.
Shout out to
Is
Section
this the
108.
first Thursday game we've had this year?
It's the only one.
Only one.
It's the only Thursday home game.
There were a lot last year.
Yeah, I know.
One
So
Thursday game this year.
That's a good thing, I think, for us. But when we do have them, we want to make sure that we're taking advantage of them and
Yeah.
getting the right audience out there. So
Absolutely. My apologies to you, Zach. I will not be there Thursday.
Anthony Ennis, little fella.
Anthony, little fella Ennis,
Little fella.
That's okay. That's
will
okay.
be the in-game host Thursday.
Yeah.
Because I got to get up early in the morning on Friday.
Come on, man. We had a lot of drinking games adapted to Mayhem planned for that.
Tony, you're going to miss out on those.
Man, I'm great at drinking games. Also, we will probably not be doing that.
Yeah, no, probably not.
I do want to say this. We've not addressed this on the air, Alex. I don't know if you addressed it during your play-by-play, but a couple of weeks ago, we were playing musical chairs after the first period. Mm-hmm. Now, there was some question because it's tough to hear when you're in that bowl on the ice. It's kind of tough to hear the music, and it was a song that had some quiet passages in it, and I thought that the song may have stopped, and I eliminated a contestant from the game.
Oh, no.
The entire arena boos me.
Oh, no, Tony.
did you eliminate like a 4-year-old kid?
No,
You're
it was-
out of here.
What was the age, Tony?
She looked like maybe she was 20. Something like
Okay.
that.
Oh,
Yeah.
then she'll be all right.
Should be all right. It's not like I eliminated a 4-year-old child. Like
Because
you
that'd have
said.
been bad.
But I got booed, Alex. Did you not address this during play-by-play? Did you not hear this?
Usually during play-by-play, I'm going to the bathroom and playing back some interviews that we have or line change or something like
Basically, no.
I never get to hear your broadcast between periods, so I don't know what you do. I don't know if you just sit up there and sing or what.
that. No,
Little chair
broadcasters.
dancing.
Broadcasters need a little relief too.
Yeah. So that's your smoke break. You just play some pre-recorded stuff. Go grab a chicken sandwich,
Sure,
whatnot.
Sure.
Get him some Dippin' Dots or something, just to keep his energy up.
Never eaten during a game before.
Oh,
actually.
okay.
Yeah, not
Is that a
once.
superstition?
No, not really. But I have eaten before a game and accidentally burped on the air one time.
Oh,
So
no.
kind of learned my lesson.
Oh,
We do that every day.
no. I mean, we do, man.
We don't have the high standards that you have.
Well, it was mid-sentence though. It just kind of
What?
exploded.
Oh,
That's what happens when you go to a Brazilian steakhouse, bro. You get the meat burps.
you get the meat burps. So Thursday we're taking on Pensacola.
That's right.
Puck drop 7:30.
Yeah.
I only bring up the booing thing just because I hope Anthony gets booed.
We can make it happen.
So we can
I really hope Anthony gets booed.
we can put the wheels in motion to
So
make
I'm
sure
not
he
the
gets.
only one. I felt so hated though. I did. I was like, oh God. And you got to be sensitive. I wanted to turn around and say, hey, I'm not a ref. But I didn't. I didn't because I didn't want to get in trouble. I didn't say that in the Centreplex.
Maybe one of our fans will
And
make
the
a
cinema.
sign with the Grinch missing an eye to troll him or something.
Oh, Anthony did make a fine one-eyed Grinch.
He did.
So let's talk about Friday night's
Yeah.
game. Again, 7:30 puck drop. Friday night we are taking on Knoxville.
Knoxville.
Huntsville.
Huntsville.
Friday.
That's what I
Yes,
did.
sir.
Don't correct me, Ev.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Ever.
I mean, it was just a different bill.
Zach looked a little scared of it. He was like, is he really not supposed to correct him? No, Zach, you can correct me. It's fine. It's fine.
Don't do it, bro.
So Friday night we are taking on Huntsville.
Huntsville.
The Havoc, I believe.
That's correct.
What are we looking for in that game? It is first responders night.
That's right. Havoc versus Mayhem. Always fun, right? All that's
Yep.
missing is pandemonium. I guess.
Wow.
Oh,
Life is pandemonium.
I'll be the in-game host.
So there's
You
that.
got pandemonium.
So we got
Friday
that, too.
night. No problem.
First Responders Night, we're doing a similar discount that we're doing for the college students on Thursday. $10 admission for anyone who's a local police officer, firefighter, things like that.
Ambulance driver, first response team, things like that.
Paramedics. We're gonna, I think last year we had a ambulance in front of the Centreplex with flashing lights going on and stuff like that.
All
So
right.
we'll probably try to do something like that again on Friday. And then our big night Saturday, we're doing our $6 tickets. Pack the Plex is what we're calling it. And we've just been reaching out to anybody and everybody who we possibly can to try to fill the arena as much as we can. We're trying to get our biggest attendance, or our biggest crowd in a single game on that Saturday. So we're looking forward to it.
$6 tickets are great value. We're taking on Knoxville on Saturday. 7 o'clock puck drop on that, and it is Nickelodeon night.
That's right. Yep.
When will the jerseys be debuted, Alex?
So I sent in the reveal graphic to Nickelodeon. We're still waiting on approval from them.
Okay.
But I've seen the jerseys. Everyone on our staff has seen them. We like them.
Okay.
And we're just waiting on the green light from
From the
Nickelodeon
Nick.
to go ahead and post them on our social media. But it'll be this week. It'll probably be early this week, either today or tomorrow, I think.
Nice. All right, so we'll be looking for that. And you said there may be an announcement maybe this week, something? You said
That's
you wanted
right.
to tease it?
Yep, we've got a big announcement that we're making tomorrow as well.
Okay.
So just stay tuned on all of our social media as always. It'll be on our website and our MailChimp. I don't know who receives my MailChimps, but it'll go out there as well.
Okay.
For some reason, I received 3 of them.
3?
Every email that gets sent out, I get 3.
Is it?
I don't know. I don't know why.
Do you oversee like multiple Creek email accounts? That's probably why.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
I still don't get what the hint was. What the hint at?
What?
No, he said he was just going to tease. He didn't say there'd be a hint.
I thought it was going to be a hint.
No.
But then what you teasing for?
I'm teasing because there's going to be a big announcement tomorrow.
I'm done. I see the reason why you didn't win that Grammy.
I thought you should have won. You were robbed,
I
Alex.
mean,
So,
just saying.
Zach,
like
this
we owe.
weekend, any surprises in the in-game promotion area that I need to be aware of?
Oh yeah, we are having a touch a truck on Friday.
Okay,
kinda
touch
like
truck.
Alex said, and then on Saturday it's Nickelodeon Double Dare. I don't know if you remember that show, but that's kind of the show we adapted for it. So we're gonna be having some challenges and stuff. So we'll see how those turn out.
We crawling through big peanut butter and jelly sandwiches trying to find flags and things. Is that what we doing? we.
I think that's a little bit too messy for
Okay.
us, but we'll have something.
Is Alex being slimed?
Oh, please tell me somebody got to get slimed.
Oh, we're trying. We're trying to
Okay,
plan
now.
something out.
If we leave it up to a fan vote, though, everyone knows who it would be.
Yeah, me.
Because you got booed. So.
Well, actually, yeah, maybe.
I got booed.
I was gonna say Blair, but
no, it's
people,
going. It's
people
going
would
to
want
Tony.
to see Blair.
He may be the only one I'd lose to. Let's. Blair, I'd vote for you too. So,
To save yourself.
we did discuss that. We did discuss possibly sliming Blair. Is that not happening?
I mean, I think we're thinking about doing a fan vote between the staff and then maybe a player as well. So
Do not put my name.
Put
on
Tony's
that.
name
Do
on that
not
list, Zach.
Put my
We
name
might
on
do it.
that.
We came this close to slamming Colin last year. It
Zach,
almost happened.
Zach, put his name on that. Put his name on that ballot. bro.
Zach, don't put my name on the
we're
ballot.
gonna
And don't
do
put
it.
his name. Just put the guy who eliminated the little girl on the ice, and that'll get them all on there. That'll get them all on there. Oh yeah, I remember that dude.
I got booed by the entire Centreplex.
I'm telling you, it was loud. Like,
I was like,
it reverberated.
I think I was turning red. I'm not sure. I was like, look, there's no prize for this. What?
Boo! Our fans know how to boo, if nothing else.
That is. They do. It is a skill set.
Enthusiastic, different ranges of them.
So if you want tickets to any of these 3 games, College Night on Thursday, First Responders Night on Friday, and of course Pack the Plex for Nickelodeon Night on Saturday. Jersey auction after the game as well.
Yes.
Don't want to forget that. You can go to
MaconMayhem.com.
I was going to say the Centreplex box office. You can do that too.
You can do that too.
Yeah.
Or get them online.
Get them there.
Online is fine.
Yeah.
Yep. If you want to save yourself the fees on Ticketmaster, then just go to the box office and do it that way. And if it's a group of 10 or more, as always, you can book it through our office by calling 478-803-1592.
All right, let's talk about this line change tomorrow night.
Yes, sir.
All right.
The Coach Ryan Michael Coaches Show downstairs. You know who the players are that will be in attendance tomorrow night.
I don't yet, but
Okay.
I do have a list. I think I showed you who
Yeah,
all has done
I was
what.
talking about your list.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we were talking about this one.
Okay, so as of right now, the people who have not done line change on our team are Colton Wolter, obviously, because he just got here, Wojtek Zemlicka, and Hayden Stewart. Oh, and Chamello.
Oh, there we
it's-
go.
Those are
Limoncello?
Those are 4 potential players who haven't done it yet this season. Who I
Now the morning show list is much longer.
It is, yeah.
A lot longer list, guys.
It's harder to get people to that one.
I know.
Which, after they do it, they always enjoy it. They want to come back. But
Nobody wants to get up this early.
yeah.
Nobody wants to get up this early. I understand. I don't either.
I wouldn't
don't
advise
either,
it,
Alex.
but
Hey,
I'm glad Zach got up this early. Good morning, Zach.
Yeah, I normally wouldn't. So
I know.
I mean,
He's doing me a huge solid all of last week and this week by driving me to work, so I appreciate it. I'm probably going to buy him a steak or something.
Oh,
I'm gonna hold you.
don't take him to the
Damn.
Brazilian steakhouse. You have to flip the cards over. It gets a little crazy.
Good Lord. He's taking you out to eat.
That's
Zach.
all it takes just to get a steak dinner out of Alex is
Just
driving
like
around?
like a Texas Roadhouse steak.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Here's
No offense,
I'll take
Texas
it.
Roadhouse.
I'll take it.
we've been talking Brazilian
Very good.
steakhouse all morning at the unlimited meat. They limit you
We're
at
not
Texas
going to
Roadhouse.
Brasserie Circa or something like that.
Look, they break those Texas Roadhouse steaks down by weight. But I think they got a 20 ounce.
Get you a big one.
They got a 20.
Get you a big one.
Get the 20.
Texas Roadhouse. I'm gonna take
Texas
advantage.
Roadhouse.
All the rolls.
Peanuts and rolls.
All the rolls.
It's like Olive Garden is known for soup, salad, and breadsticks. Texas Roadhouse,
Peanuts and rolls, baby.
So I'm going to pull a Tyler here and to remind everyone that speaking of Texas Roadhouse, we've got our next family
You
4-pack
better get it.
on February 7th.
You better get it.
Look at that segue.
That includes 4 tickets and a $30 gift card at Texas Roadhouse, all for just $50. It's going to be Friday, February 7th.
Look at him.
First home game after this weekend.
All right. Alex, good to see you.
Good to see you, too.
Zach,
Thank
good
you,
to
guys.
see you.
Yeah, nominee.
Yeah, we have played again.
Damn shame he lost.
Damn shame. This is fine production work.
But Billie Eilish decided needed to get that award, so it's just another one.
Here's the Secret Sisters cabin on the creek.
Hello and welcome to this week's edition of SPHL Calls of the Week. From Roanoke, I'm Brian Gardner. The action continued in the SPHL this week, and of course, it's time to let you know how it sounded from some of the radio voices around the league. Let's jump in. We'll begin on Friday night in Peoria, where the first-place Rivermen had their hands full with the last-place Mayhem. A hard-fought game through 60 minutes had the score tied at 1, so we moved into overtime. The vaunted Rivermen attack could only be held at bay for so long. Here's the voice of the Rivermen, Andrew Mossbrooks. Shot! Net stays open! McMartin with a shot! The Avenue with a drive! A second, a third crack! Empty net, they score! A sea of chances, and Robin Hoagland is there in the overtime finish. Hoagland's 8th of the season wraps this one up. The Rivermen get 2 points. They're 22-4-3 and winners of a 2-1 final here against the Macon Mayhem. And the momentum from Hoagland's game winner then carried into Saturday as the Rivermen beat the Mayhem 5-2 to complete the weekend sweep. On Saturday, the Birmingham Bulls were at home to take on the Huntsville Havoc, fresh off of a 3-2 shootout win over the Ice Flyers in Pensacola. The Bulls fell into a 2-0 hole in the first, but would erase that deficit late in the period. Off to Eli Gold.
The Bulls dump the puck in. Here's Golka behind the net. He'll stop on a dime, loses the puck. It's into the slot. A wrist shot, scores! Jorad from Golka. And Birmingham on the board on a power play goal.
And just over a minute later, they'd tie the game. Back to Eli for the call.
It bounces to Barber. Barber around the near side, Palmerville watching on the short side. He scores! Barber, where seemingly no opening existed. Barber beating De Laverne to the short side, and the hockey game is tied.
That was the first of 3 goals for Barber, whose hat trick helped the Bulls to a 6-2 win on Saturday night, their 4th win in a row. Now let's finish off the week in Pensacola, where the Rail Yard Dogs were visiting the Ice Flyers on the team's $5 weekend. A Garrett Milan goal late in the third would tie the game at 2 and force overtime, but the Dogs would get the last laugh. Here's my call from the hangar. Jeff Jones has an edge. Jones to the net. Jones with a backhand save made. Rebound! Stuffed home! And they score! That's Brent Sherwood! He silences the crowd against his former team! And Roanoke takes it in overtime! Sherwood, the game winner, and your final score this evening from Pensacola! In overtime, Roanoke 3 and Pensacola 2! Playing against his former team, Brant Sherwood silenced a crowd of over 8,000, and the Rail Yard Dogs took the extra point in overtime, 3-2. That's all we've got for this edition of SPHL Calls of the Week. Until next week, I'm Brian Gardner.
Okay, well, welcome back, everybody. We hope you enjoyed that intermission segment with our Creek sponsors, the official radio promotional partner of the Macon Mayhem on 100.9 FM every Monday morning. I'll be there from 8:30 to 9 o'clock. I'll have a player guest with me typically. Sometimes I'll have a staff guest, like, for example, this past week with Zach Smith. He did a great job. Tony Doolin, Charles Davis, always a pleasure catching up with them every Monday morning. Again, 100.9 The Creek every Monday from 8:30 to 9. We'll be talking Mayhem hockey on the Mayhem's official radio promotional partner, The Creek FM. So the Mayhem currently trailing the Rail Yard Dogs by a 3-1 score. While we've got a brief moment, let's take a quick look around the SPHL for an out-of-town scoreboard update before we begin period 3 here at the Macon Centreplex. Roanoke still with a 1-0 lead over Pensacola, so they seem at least earmarked to get a goal, or rather a point from that game. They are up a goal over the Ice Flyers with just 40 seconds left, so unless a miracle happens, the Rail Yard Dogs will at least get a point, which is bad news for the Mayhem. Rod Aldoff and company probably scrambling to try to tie that game back up late in period 3. Fayetteville up 4-1 over Knoxville. Both former Mayhem players who were traded there earlier this week have gotten onto the score sheet. Stathis with a primary assist and Jarrett Cup with a goal, which is currently the game winner as it stands now. If the game were to end right this second, Cup will get the game goal, or he would get the game-winning goal, rather, in just his first game since being traded there. Peoria up 4-1 over Quad City, nearing the halfway point of regulation in that tilt, and Evansville has pulled ahead with a 2-1 lead over the Birmingham Bulls, again around the midway point of regulation time. That wraps up your Hampton Inn & Suites out-of-town scoreboard update. This game, in the meantime, just about to be back underway. Right now, Dylan Denemy having a word with Zane Stout, the referee, and Dan Huntington, one of the linesmen, down at center ice. The Mayhem trailing the Huntsville Havoc by a 3-1 score. The Havoc coming into this game with a record of 19-11-3. They're fourth best in the SPHL, and really any category you look at, they have had a strong season. They're top half of the league in virtually everything. Power play, penalty kill, goals for per game, goals against per game, shots for and against per game. They have just really not had much of a weakness all season long. The puck drops. This game is back underway, and the Havoc win the first faceoff of period 3. Alex Von Coito, the voice of your Macon Mayhem, thanking you so much for joining us tonight, folks, on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. Sean Lynch will motor it down the left wing side, spring one along for Dylan Denemy, who pulls up and centers, pops off the stick of Pirog, and Alex De Oliveira pinches in. He's got it. He skillfully plays it. Denemy slap shot, and De Laverne makes the save. He pounces on the rebound and will cover it in the Huntsville crease. It was a nice play made by Alex De Oliveira at the left point. He was a left-handed shooting defenseman who in that situation just kind of had no choice but to one-hand it to the left half wall to set up Dylan Denemy, who had a lot of space. Just took a big heavy slap shot, which De Laverne was able to fight off. Stephen Pirog take the ensuing draw to De Laverne's right, and he'll be countered in the circle by Huntsville's Sean Bates. He's been a point-per-game player this season for Glenn DeTulio and the Havoc. Alex De Oliveira with a bit of a risky pinch, but Sean Lynch covers a lot of ice for him to retreat and set up Arfelt. It bounces on net, and a dangerous play made there. Hayden Stewart is able to bail out Oscar Arfelt. It was nearly poked in through Stewart's 5-hole. He was able to get down into the butterfly quickly. And this next face-off will take place in the near circle of the Macon zone. And DeTulio sends Sean Bates' line back out there. Bates flanked by Greg Burmaster on his right and Chance Braid on his left. Mayhem winning the defensive zone faceoff cleanly, and Larry Smith chipping it off the glass all the way down. That'll be an icing called against Macon. That icing call has been brought to you by Tropical Smoothie Cafe. Caleb Cameron, despite his best efforts, not able to outrace the Huntsville opposition to that loose puck. 19-17 to go in the third period. 3-1. Havoc remains your score. Faceoff will be in the same place. Colton Walter against Sean Bates, near circle. Walter winning the defensive zone draw cleanly. He generated a high-end scoring opportunity for himself at the end of period 2. He nearly scored on a spectacular individual effort. The Havoc forced the turnover at the blue line, but Cameron is Johnny on the spot, able to whack it past the blue line and out to center ice. Colton Walter down the left wing. He's closed off by Brandrup. Brandrup loses it, bounces off the side of the cage, and it's steered into the corner by Mike DeLaverne. Now it's Campbell wheeling into the slot with a slap shot, redirects on goal. Stopped by DeLaverne with his outstretched glove, and now Brandrup will circle back in behind his own net and chip it off the boards. Campbell at the red line to intercept at center ice, and he will float it back in on net. Mike DeLaverne is able to make the stop with his glove and will leave it behind his own cage. Alex Palmerville has it there. Been worked up the right side, and Dave Nippard redirects it into Macon territory. Hayden Stewart steers it around the boards, and Josh Keplinger trying to advance it further. Nippard interrupted that. David Pawlowski's all over it, however, and Zach Urban receives it on the right side of the ice. From the half wall, he will float one past Chimello down into Huntsville territory. Backhanded off the end wall by Stefan Beauvais, who's got it on his stick now and will put it into his own slot. Durar advances it, and now it's Nippard chipping one in past Wojtek Zemlitska, who's checked pretty hard, but Keplinger's got it inside of his own trapezoid. Josh Keplinger overskates the puck, gets a second chance at it, and shovels it across. Zach Urban, had a bounce off the Earthall Chiropractic dasher boards, recovers it from center ice, will fire it well wide of the net. And now it's Pat Condon deep in his own zone. The Mayhem completing a change on the fly. Nippard will slide one across his own blue line. And now here comes Stefan Beauvais. He dumps it in on net, stopped by Stewart, picked up by the Mayhem and cleared by Chimello. Cousineau now up to Pirog. He's joined by Denemy far side. Denemy puts it on. They score! Dylan Denemy with a shot from the far corner has just scored his third goal of the season. The Mayhem back to within a goal. It's 3-2 Huntsville with 17:14 to play in the third. Not a good goal to give up if you're Mike DeLaverne. He was watching the puck, he was watching the play, but I'm not sure he fully anticipated a shot coming from Dylan Denemy in that position. It's never a bad play to put the puck on net, folks, and Denemy from a near impossible angle from really the goal line somewhere between the Coca-Cola dasher board and the bowl dasher board. Just not a good angle at all, and it went through the 5-hole of DeLaverne. And now Walter will attempt to center it. Diving shot by Pirog denied. Turnaround shot. Denemy hits the outside of the left elbow. And it's wheeled to the outside of the zone by Cousineau, who will redistribute it behind the Huntsville cage. Severio Posa's got it. Will make the breakout for the Havoc. From his backhand, works it up the near boards. Tyler Piacentini steps in across the Macon blue line. Coughs the puck up to the stick of Alex de Oliveira, who can't clear it past Posa, manning the right point diligently. Right corner now, it's Scott Trask, who fights forward against de Oliveira, puts it down to the corner, and the centering pass bounces out to the blue line. Brandrup long screen shot blocked by Lynch. Bounces to Arfelt's corner, and now the puck wobbles its way back into the slot, whacked all the way down. This will just be shy of an icing call as the linesman Dan Huntington waves it off. Alec Brandrup is pursued by Mike Chimello, who's forcing him to make a play in behind the Huntsville goal line. Brandrup puts onto his forehand and clears. He's had to log extensive ice time tonight in the absence of Nolan Kaiser at the blue line. We've seen a lot of number 5 in white this evening. Here come the Havoc. Left wing side, snapshot, gloved by Stewart. And that was Sean Bates taking that wrist shot from the left circle, who was just tied earlier in this game by Rob Durar for the team lead in points this season. Each of them have 32 on the campaign. Durar came into this game leading the league in shots. He already had 155 before this game started. He's got more now. For those of you who aren't great at math like myself, that's an average of 4.7 per game. He's already passed what he did last season in 12 fewer games played. One could say that he's trigger happy, but I don't think Glenn DiTullio is complaining because he's scoring a lot of goals. And he's got one tonight. As it stands now, it's the game winner, but not if the Mayhem have something to say about it. Puck's been cleared out past Campbell at center ice. He will retrieve it in his own zone. The Duluth, Minnesota native sends it across the width. Bounce off the half wall on the near side. And Sean Bates kicks it up to his stick from neutral territory. We'll just float it into a vacant corner. It'll be occupied by Larry Smith, and he puts it into his own slot for Stepan Timofeyev to pick it up. Timofeyev skates in across the Huntsville blue line. Attempts the toe drag. He was heavily covered and outnumbered. He takes a spill in the far corner, and here come the Havoc in transition. Bates through center ice. Flutters the pass over to Sharkey, broken up out of midair by Zach Urban's stick. With it on his stick now is Baxter Cantor, whom Urban fought against earlier in this game, way back in the first period. The two of them got into an offsetting roughing encounter, and then just 2 minutes later, they got into an actual fight. Urban fired it off the stick of Denemy and into Huntsville ice. Zemlitska pinching up the left half wall to keep the attack going, but it fails as Dave Nippert is able to advance one as far as the Macon blue line. Zach Urban now in behind his own net with it. 14:30 to go in the third period. 3-2 is your score in favor of the Huntsville Havoc. The Mayhem have been playing from behind since the 22nd mark of this game. The pass from Denemy hits Pirog upside the head, and he skates in some distress back to the Macon bench. Hope he doesn't have a concussion. Steven Pirog took that puck to the back of the helmet. That's a dangerous area to take a pass to. Dylan Denemy making sure he's okay. Right now, Joshua Hoffman and Evan Watts, Macon's trainer and equipment manager, are seeing to him. Here's a chance for Chamello moving in, lost the puck, and then had it whacked off his stick at the side of the net. Long slap pass by Cousineau is intercepted. Rob Durar up to Piacentini, who's got some wheels. He will take it into the right corner now and put it off the backboard. It's going to be Nukovic cutting it off. His pass is intercepted by Josh Keplinger. Keplinger slips the puck through. Chamello gives it across to Colton Wolter, in across the blue line onside. And his shot get blocked by Brandrup. Brandrup near corner with an attempt to clear, fails. Colton Wolter saw to that, but the Havoc have gotten it out regardless. Left side, it's Nukovic, defended by Campbell. Nukovic slams on the brakes, twists the puck down into the far corner. 13:23 to go in the third period. The Havoc still leading by a 3-2 margin. Sean Lynch comes motoring out of his own zone with it, gains the red line and puts it over the blue line past Brandrup. Gets his own pass, left corner. Thought about giving it over to his fellow New Yorker, Pulowski, thought better of it, and will leave it to Campbell instead. Rather, that's Cameron, not Campbell. Cameron is surrounded on all sides by Havoc sweaters. He gets upended near corner. No penalty. Play continues. Pulowski sends it up to the right point. Ben Campbell, long snapshot, blocked. Loose puck in the slot. Whacked to the top of the far circle. It'll be scooped up and taken out of harm's way by Scott Trask as a 2-on-2 develops for Huntsville. Trask is across the Macon blue line, joined by Piacentini, who he feeds the pass. Piacentini's shot goes wide of the far side post. Quick, sharp angle bid from the far corner taken by Bates is off the mark as well. Condon from the right point. Bates attempted a quick centering pass, goes off the side of the cage. It'll be collected in the near corner and worked up to the point by Chance Braid. And Braid receives the pass on the far side by Sean Bates. It's given back in behind the Macon net. Near corner, it's played by Greg Burmaster. Utica College product, steps in behind the net, backhands a shot off the pads of Hayden Stewart. Here come the Mayhem 2-on-2. Backhand pass broken up beautifully by Stefan Beauvais, which nullified a breakaway. And now it's Burmaster on the near side. He just steps in across the Macon blue line, immediately met by the Czech defenseman Wojtek Zemlitska. 11:57 to go here in period 3. This third period has cruised right along. Whistles have been few and far between here in the closing stanza, and finally we get one as Hayden Stewart just hangs on to it at the side of his cage. 11:49 to go in the third period. The Mayhem threatening and pressuring all night. They've been fighting from behind ever since the 20th second of this game. They have trailed. They have not been able to retie the game since that incident. Since that goal, I'll call it, incident makes it sound a lot more serious. But since that goal scored by Tyler Piacentini just 20 seconds into this game, Piacentini has made a habit of scoring extremely early against the Mayhem. And this, I don't want to call this a case of deja vu necessarily, because the games have not been played really in the same manner, but 3.5 months ago, when the Mayhem hosted the Huntsville Havoc for the first time this season on opening weekend, it was October 19th. Tyler Piacentini opened the scoring with an unassisted goal 11 seconds into the game. That was the last time Huntsville was here before tonight, and tonight he opened the scoring 20 seconds into this game. Just very strange. But in that first game, that was the only goal that Huntsville would score all night. It was a near perfect effort by the Mayhem defensively. Tonight, it's been a different story. The Mayhem have trailed all night long, ever since that goal by Piacentini in the 20th second of this game. However, they have not been out of the fight. At no point throughout this game has it felt completely one-sided, really. The Mayhem have been steadily improving in this game since the first period and have drawn to within one twice, are now just a goal away from tying it. David Pulowski struck back in period 2. And Dylan Denemy getting the Mayhem back on the board very early into period 3. Denemy's goal coming almost immediately from a tough angle shot, just 2:46 into this third period. That just squeaked its way through the 5-hole of Mike De La Verne. Josh Keplinger backhands the puck up to the right wing side for Chamello. He will give it across, and here comes Colton Wolter down the left wing. Wolter turns, he switches with Chamello. Wolter carries behind the net, will give it to Keplinger and get it right back. He dangles to the outside. Wolter has it on his backhand, shovels it towards the goal. It gets blocked, and it's gone off the protective netting behind the backboards and out of play. That flying puck's been brought to you by Blues Painting and Home Repair. 11:26 to go in the third period, 3-2 Huntsville. Again, the visitors have led in this game ever since the 22nd mark. But the Mayhem have continuously kept themselves in the contest. Wojtek Zemlicka lines up in the deep slot, hoping for a clean win by Colton Wolter, but didn't get one. Huntsville's Cy Nukovic was able to best him. And now the puck's been whacked towards the Havoc blue line. It goes past Brandrup, who's going to have to recover it at his own goal line now. Alec Brandrup goes up the middle for Tyler Piacentini. Weaves wide on Mike Chamello. The puck slides to the bottom of the near circle in the Macon zone. Zach Urban reverses it. Piacentini takes it away and flings it across the crease. Here come the Mayhem. An odd man rush develops. A 3-on-2 at least. Urban right side. Spins, loses the puck. It's given off to a shot from Wolter that's denied. Rather, Timofeyev was denied by Mike De La Verne. 10:49 to go in the third. 3-2 Huntsville. The Mayhem getting another offensive zone face-off. And some nostalgia for John Seamer coming here at the Macon Centreplex now with this music going on. David Pulowski, Stepan Timofeyev, Caleb Cameron out there for an offensive zone face-off. And Alex De Oliveira and Oscar Arfelt lining up at the point positions. Pulowski clean win, but it went directly to Rob Durar of Huntsville. Sharkey put it in across the Macon blue line. That puck's been whacked into the Mayhem bench. Fortunately, it didn't look like it hit anybody. It went over most people's heads. .41 to go in the third. 3-2. Havoc, your score. Shots on goal in this game, very even. Huntsville with a narrow edge, 20-18 in that department. The Havoc again average more shots on goal than any team in this league with 36.6 per game. Mayhem right in the middle of the pack in both shots for per game and shots against. Oscar Arfelt behind his own net. Swedish-born defenseman playing his first full game for the Mayhem tonight, wearing the number 67. When I asked him why that was his choice, he said he just likes being different. Not a lot of players in this league, or really in any league, that wear that number. A long neutral zone shot is smothered up by Hayden Stewart with his glove. There are, however, a lot of unique numbers on Huntsville's roster, numbers that you don't often see either. Kyle Sharkey, 48. Chance Braid, I beg your pardon, 63. Rob Darr, Stefan Beauvais, Scott Trask, all in the 70s, which are pretty rare. Not the typical 1 through 23. Makes things a little bit easier from a broadcaster's perspective to identify players, but I've got to admit I've had some difficulty between Beauvais and Trask 78 and 79. They're both left-handed as well. They look pretty similar down there. Unfortunately, they play a different position. Havoc win the offensive zone faceoff. Alec Brandrup from the left point will rattle it in behind the Macon cage. And now it's Ben Campbell from the near corner. He's able to advance it to the top of the circle. And Dylan Denemy, who scored Macon's most recent goal, attempted to put it out to the neutral zone for Josh Kuzno, but it never reached him. Burmaster saw to that. He intercepted it. Here's a chance for Kuzno gaining the puck at the blue line, entering the Huntsville zone. Had it swiped off his stick. Follow-up shot from Denemy is off target. Campbell steps in. Left half wall, puts it back behind the net, hoping for Pirog. He was well covered. And the Havoc still in possession in their own zone. They have just worked it off the boards and down. This will be an icing called against the visiting Havoc. 9:35 to go in the third period. And Huntsville catches a break after that icing call. They'll be heading to a media timeout, so they'll have a chance for a breather. As we have just officially crossed the halfway point of period 3. The Mayhem back to within a goal, but still trailing 3-2 your score. We're going to take a brief pause on the Mayhem Broadcast Network. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. Keep it right here on SPHL Live, powered by Endeavor Streaming, and on YouTube.
Beloved Family 4-pack is back. The Mayhem are offering this incredibly affordable package for several games throughout the season. For just $50, you receive 4 tickets and a $30 gift card to Texas Roadhouse at 5080 Riverside Drive right here in Macon. The dates for these 4-pack nights will be announced on social media as they become finalized, so be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube for all the most up-to-date content.
So the Mayhem faithful here at the Centreplex, not only hoping for an equalizer just because of the excitement that would generate, but also if the Mayhem score another goal, everyone in attendance tonight will receive 6 free donut holes from Tommy's Bakery and Cafe. I believe Tommy Sadler, the owner and operator of Tommy's Bakery, calls that the hat trick challenge. Very generous of him to offer that. Good deal. Brandrup can't clear it past Campbell at the right point. He's now the only left-handed shooting defenseman on the right side of the ice now that Arfelt has joined the ranks of the Mayhem. Josh Keplinger above the right circle. Will drop it down to Colton Wolter. He fires, just missed the right elbow. It nearly grazed the post. Left point held in the zone by Larry Smith, who will put it behind the net. Sean Lynch is there. Surrounded by white sweaters. Lynch loses his stick as the two 18s converge in the far corner. Greg Burmaster, his former teammate at Utica College, able to get the better of him as he didn't have a stick. And Smith at the red line will get it to Wolter in the neutral zone. Wolter up the right wing side. Stepan Timofeyev dumps it in below the Huntsville goal line. And Alec Brandrup gets it along the end wall for Alex Palmerville. Now chasing after it, Tyler Piacentini. He's beaten to it by Macon goaltender Hayden Stewart. And Zach Urban dispossessed of it by Piacentini. Huntsville fans in attendance wanting a penalty called for tripping, but an offside whistle against Huntsville is called instead. Now Piacentini skates over to have a word with Zane Stout, who emphatically brushed him aside. He sort of just gave him the don't irk me one more time or you'll regret it gesture. Piacentini felt as though he was tripped. He certainly had an argument, but Zane Stout will hear nothing of it. Pat Condon getting the puck off the face-off in the neutral zone. He coughs it up at the blue line, but recovers. Here's a chance for Trask, who shoots, denied. Butterfly save made by Hayden Stewart. Remember that one, folks. Scott Trask found himself on a 2-on-1 down low, and Pat Condon pretty fortunate that him losing an edge at the blue line did not cost him. Had he turned the puck over there, the Mayhem probably had a 4-on-1 the other way. Instead, the puck bounced his way, and Scott Trask had a great scoring chance. Hayden Stewart with a good pad save. Zanukovic kicked out of the faceoff circle. Taking his place will be Scott Trask, who's had an excellent return to action following his one-game suspension, which he served last night against Roanoke. Wojtek Zemlitska unable to clear it. And Tyler Piacentini goes into the end wall against Urban, who loses his helmet. Zemlitska. Now it's Condon at center, blasting it into the offensive zone. It goes around to the far half wall. Alex de Oliveira cuts it off and banks it off his own end boards. 8 minutes to go. 3-2 Huntsville remains your score. Timofeyev near half wall. Stepan Timofeyev guides it softly down below his own goal line. Wojtek Zemlitska begins to cruise out of his own end and will pick up speed through center. Gets around a check, cuts in over the Huntsville blue line. Lost the puck in the slot. Pulowski couldn't do much with it. It was hacked off his blade immediately, and here comes Darer. Nice move into the attacking zone, flutters it towards the net. Stewart is down with a stick save, and the puck slides just wide of the net. Right point, it'll be kept in the zone by Saverio Posa, who takes it down the right boards, has on his backhand, drives, and misses the far post with his shot. There was a battle going on between a stickless Timofeyev and Kyle Sharkey. Timofeyev, in the meantime, will skate to the Macon bench, as will Pulowski. Sharkey from center blasts it on net, and Alex de Oliveira had to duck that one. It nearly took his head off. It was stopped by Hayden Stewart with the glove. It's been dumped back into the Macon zone by Saverio Posa. And now Denemy has to duck to dodge a clearing attempt by Alex de Oliveira. Just missed Denemy and went all the way down the length for icing. Boy, Pirog was hit in the back of the head by a Denemy pass earlier. Alex de Oliveira had to duck to dodge a slap shot from Sharkey in the neutral zone, and then just moments ago, Denemy having to duck a clearing attempt by Alex de Oliveira. Well, before this game started, Coach Michael should have played the dodgeball clip. The 5 rules of dodgeball: dodge, duck, dip, dive, and dodge. Maybe he did. Pirog will take a defensive zone face-off and win it. Oscar Arfelt from the far corner attempts to clear. A good keep made at the left point by Sean Bates, who sent it across the crease. Arfelt can't clear it. Here's a chance in front of the net. Arfelt got a good stick in on Chance Braid to prevent a scoring opportunity from developing. Cousineau backhands it up to the neutral zone. It's been cleared back into Macon ice, and it's stopped by Stewart behind his own net. De Oliveira distributes it to his right. It's been floated ahead by Arfelt up towards Pirog, who couldn't cut his way through the Huntsville defense. Keplinger keeps it in the zone. Quick shot by Denemy is gloved down by De Laverne. Denemy's already beaten him once from a tough angle in this period. De Laverne will not allow it to happen again as he makes that nice glove save. Dylan Denemy, before he came to the Mayhem this season, they did not have a single shorthanded goal. In the short time that he's been here, he has scored 2 of them. He's got both of Macon's shorthanded tallies this season. Huntsville winning the defensive zone faceoff. Brandrup advancing it as far as Piacentini, who has just lofted it on goal, so no icing, and Stewart will have to take a defensive zone draw. 3-2 is the score in favor of Huntsville with 6:10 to go here in period number 3. Another offensive zone faceoff for Huntsville. They've had a bit of a surge of those here in this last 3 or 4 minute span or so. Sinukovic is going to square off against the other number 19, Colton Wolter. Native of Fairbanks, Alaska, who won a Robertson Cup championship in the North American Hockey League with his hometown team, the Fairbanks Ice Dogs, in 2014. One-timer by Brandrup is on save. Rebound off the post. The Mayhem catch a huge break. Stewart was beaten, but his best friend came to the rescue. The right post keeps the Mayhem within a goal. Brandrup, blue line, gives it to Sharkey. Left side, shot. Stopped by Stewart. I beg your pardon, that was Nukovic, not Sharkey, but Keplinger punches one ahead, and Colton Wolter gets it into Huntsville territory. Keplinger seals the left wall. Brandrup has it behind his own net. Backhands it off the far boards. And the Havoc are out to center with it. Piacentini receiving the pass. He will attempt to motor down the slot. Loses the puck to Zemlitska temporarily, but gets back on it. Mayhem sort of faced the Pensacola version of Piacentini last night in the form of Garrett Milan. Pretty similar playing styles between the two of them. Pretty similar types of players. Very highly skilled. Undersized, but extremely effective at generating offense and scoring opportunities for their teams. Zach Urban backhands the puck off the end wall in his own zone. Alex de Oliveira Tried to clear, can't do it. Turnover, Sharkey turnaround shot denied by Stewart, who has really bailed the Mayhem out this period. He's been spectacular. Here comes Cameron through center. Gains the Huntsville line, goes wide. Couldn't get his shot on goal from that tough angle. Cameron from the front of the net, denied a couple of times by De La Verne. It's put back in front. Pops out to the left circle. De Oliveira's drive blocked. Loose puck, whacked at the goal again. Stick save by De La Verne, and the whistle blows. 4:36 to go. We're going to head to our final media timeout of period number 3. We'll be back in just a moment, folks. 3-2 your score in favor of the Havoc with 4:36 remaining in regulation. We'll finish this game out when we come back.
Trying to plan out a night of fun for an upcoming birthday? Why not spend it right here with the Mayhem? The Tommy's Bakery and Cafe Birthday Suite is available right here at the Macon Centreplex for all home games during the 2019-20 season. The birthday suite comes chock full of benefits, including 12 tickets, a private suite area with a great view of the ice, donuts from Tommy's Bakery, a visit from Mac the Mascot, and a special present for the birthday child. All of this for just $250, with additional tickets available for $12 each. Visit MaconMayhem.com or call our office for more information.
Okay, welcome back, everyone. We'll be here with you for the rest of this game. The Mayhem trailing the Havoc by a 1-goal margin. Such has been the case for the majority of this game. This game has only been tied for 20 seconds the entire night. The Mayhem have been playing from behind, but playing hard virtually all evening long. They've only got 4 minutes and 36 seconds to salvage any points from this tilt. They need at least a goal in order to make that happen. Kuzno fails to win the offensive zone face-off as he was beaten by Sean Bates, but he stays on the puck. He goes into the far corner to fight for it. He's taken into the half wall by Alec Brandrup, who has got it on his stick now. He flings it into his own circle. Arfelt just barely had it cross over the blue line and will retreat out to center and flop it in. Had the stick knocked clean out of his hands, and the Havoc got away with a slashing penalty. Arfelt will slide it over to Alex De Oliveira. He will give it up to Pirog, dropped off. Arfelt enters the zone right side. He puts on the brakes near the far half wall. Pirog, right point. Pumps the puck in deep, in below the Havoc net. Great pass by Timofeyev. Wraparound attempt by Lynch. Nobody was there except for Brandrup, who takes it out of harm's way. It's been whacked around the boards. Arfelt with the keep. Pump fake and a shot. Blocked in front. Pirog loose there, digging for it, but it was pounced on by Mike De La Verne, who makes the snag with his glove. Precious seconds ticking off the clock. 3:45 to go in the closing stanza. The Havoc still with a 3-2 lead. They've got contributions on the score sheet tonight from Tyler Piacentini, Scott Trask, and Rob Durar. All 3 of their goals came from those 3. And as for Macon, it was David Pulowski and Dylan Denemy lighting the lamp tonight. Huntsville coming away with the puck following the defensive zone face-off. Piacentini will drill it into the Macon zone and around the boards. It never reaches Sean Lynch. He's eventually able to catch up to it and clear it past the blue line. Piacentini with a curl and drag shot denied by Aiden Stewart. Piacentini waiting for it. And now it's Sinukovic going over to the far half wall to play it. Nukovic attempting to twist it to the left circle for Scott Trask. It was broken up and didn't reach him, and here come the Mayhem the other way. It's brought through center by Colton Wolter. Wolter will carry it into the far corner. He's knocked off the puck. Sean Lynch helping him out down there along the end wall, but he's pinned up to the boards by Pat Condon. Kyle Sharkey flings it off the boards and out into neutral ice. Zach Urban floats a saucer pass onto the tape of Wolter. He is onside. He fires. Glove snagged by Mike De La Verne. And some pushes and shoves transpiring now in front of the Huntsville cage. Hayden Stewart looking to the Macon bench, waiting for the signal from Mayhem head coach Ryan Michael. We've seen him be aggressive a couple of times this season, folks. Ryan Michael not afraid to pull his goaltender earlier than a lot of coaches would. But with the team only trailing by a goal, I think he's going to wait just a tad longer. Probably the next offensive zone face-off the team gets after this one. David Pulowski to take this draw against Sean Bates, who's been very stout in the face-off circle tonight. He wins another one. Severio Posa dodges a bullet and got rid of the puck. Wojtek Zemlitska, good keep at the blue line. Long shot blocked in front, cleared aside, and scooped up by Sean Bates. He's going to skate it out to neutral ice and Kyle Sharkey chips it to himself off the wall. Sharkey with a shot, blocked, and it bounces in behind the net. Durar gets the return pass and fires, just missed the right post, gets it back in a circle, and his shot is denied this time by Stewart. The Mayhem are out of their own zone, but without control of the puck. Urban's back on it. Keplinger receives the puck over the blue line. He will carry it down the far half wall, waits for some help, takes the shot, it gets blocked. Durar has cleared it out into neutral territory. That puck was played with a high stick. The Mayhem cannot afford to let any seconds tick off the clock, so Cousineau played it. The Havoc wisely decided not to touch it to kill off a few seconds. Now Lynch, Stewart to the bench. The Mayhem get a sixth attacker out there. Lynch in the near corner, puts it down to Pirog. He's well covered by Brandrup. The sixth attacker is Dylan Denemy, who goes right into the muck to try to help his team win this board battle. Colton Wolter is sealing the left half wall. Cousineau lurking around the perimeter of the scrap. Puck bounces around in front. Pirog over to the far corner to get it. He's got it on his backhand now. Stephen Pirog drops it to the right point. Oscar Arfelt has it. He has it knocked off his stick. Pirog salvages it at the point, but it squeaks over the blue line. Could be an empty net to shoot at. Piacentini, far side. He centers it. Here's a shot. They just missed the net. Scott Trask couldn't bury it. Stephen Pirog gets the puck back. The Mayhem still with a chance. Cousineau at the red line. Now the blue line enters the zone, leaves it. Denemy flings it over. Nobody's over there, and it's going to be taken away by Huntsville's Stefan Beauvais and cleared down into Macon ice. The Mayhem scramble to get a fire wagon line change underway. Timofeyev is dispossessed of it. And here's an opportunity. They score into the empty net. Timofeyev coughed up the puck in the far half wall to Tyler Piacentini, and the Havoc have just iced this game with an empty net goal. Kyle Sharkey did the honors, and that'll do it for tonight. And will have dropped their fourth consecutive game and miss out on two more very valuable points. Another hard-fought game by the Mayhem tonight, but not enough to get any points in the standings. And for Timofeyev, just an unfortunate way to end this game for him. You know, that's not going to sit well with him. He's played such a strong game tonight. He's created so many chances offensively for his team. One of which resulted in Macon's first goal of the game, scored by David Pawlowski. He was just, Timofeyev was just stripped of possession along the far half wall by Tyler Piacentini. Great work ethic by him, who's got a three-point night to show for it. And Zane Stout has just blown the whistle. He might be sending Caleb Cameron to the penalty box. Now he might be sending him off the ice. Cameron is not happy with Zane Stout. He's continued to chirp into his ear well after the penalty was called. And that is it for Caleb Cameron. His night is done. We can only hope that he's not suspended for tomorrow night's game. That's somebody the Mayhem cannot afford to play without. He's one of the team's alternate captains, one of their veterans. I imagine he said something to Zane Stout that the referee did not appreciate. He's kept both teams on a short leash tonight. You got to give him credit. Zane Stout, he not really been inconsistent with his officiating in any sense of the word. He has, for the most part, let things go. Only 4 total power plays, 3 for Macon, 1 for Huntsville. And he has not really taken much lip from either side. We saw him earlier when Tyler Piacentini was trying to argue a call, and he immediately silenced him. And Piacentini listened. Cameron did not. He kept talking and got sent off. I don't imagine, it was just a slashing penalty called against Cameron, and then he got sent off because he argued it, I'm guessing. So I don't imagine we'll see Cameron suspended for tomorrow night's game. However, the pressing matter at hand is that the Mayhem have failed to secure any points from this game. Late shot taken as the buzzer was sounding. Immediately the officials skated in to jump to the defense of Stefan Beauvais, but that was moot. None of the Mayhem players confronted him for it. 4-2 the final score here in Macon, with the last goal being an empty net strike scored by Tyler Piacentini, who will in all likelihood be nominated as the first star of tonight's game. He had a 3-point evening, opened the scoring for Huntsville, and contributed what would be their next goal, scored by Scott Trask on a 2-on-1. Piacentini is the one who fed Trask in the neutral zone with all that speed and got the primary assist, and then the empty net goal. He assisted on it by winning the board battle along the far half wall to set up Kyle Sharkey for a tap-in empty netter. So for Sharkey, that was his second point of the night as well, and both of which were assists. Sharkey on the campaign now with 23 points. The Mayhem will return to the Macon Centreplex tomorrow night for Pack the Plex night. Folks, we hope to see you out here. $6 tickets are still available. If you're interested, visit the Mayhem website, maconmayhem.com, or just call the Mayhem box office or the front office if it's a group of 10 or more. We can take care of you at 478-803-1592. Of course, you can always just swing by the Centreplex box office as a walk-up and purchase your tickets that way. The only warning is the only caveat to that is that we are expecting a large walk-up crowd tomorrow night. And if you're interested in getting tickets, we recommend that you do so in advance so that you can avoid the long lines at the box office tomorrow night. Again, $6 tickets tomorrow night. Puck drops at 7 p.m. against the Knoxville Ice Bears on Pack the Plex night. We'll be wearing specialty Nickelodeon Double Dare themed jerseys, which will be worn by the team throughout the game and sold off in a live auction in the Centreplex lobby following tomorrow night's game. As for tonight's tilt, folks, 4-2 the final in favor of Huntsville. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast, whether you're a listener of the Huntsville fan base or of the Macon fan base. We hope you enjoyed the broadcast. If you're a Mayhem fan, in spite of the outcome, once more, the Havoc with 4, the Mayhem with 2. And we can't wait to have you on board with us tomorrow night as the Mayhem host the Knoxville Ice Bears. Real quick, take one last look around the SPHL. Roanoke held on, which is bad news for the Mayhem. They now fall to 6 points back of the next closest team in the league. The Rail Yard Dogs, with their 12th win of the season, are now at 29 points on the campaign. Fayetteville still up 4-2 over Knoxville. Stathis Sumalitis, Jarrett Cupp both getting on the score sheet tonight for their new teams. Sumalitis with a primary assist and Jarrett Cupp with a goal in the first period. Really helping out Jesse Kalecki and their new squad, which is good to see. Former Mayhem contributing on the score sheet of their new teams. Peoria up 4-2 over Quad City during the second intermission, and Evansville leads 3-1 over Birmingham early in the third. That wraps up your final out-of-town scoreboard update of this game, brought to you by Hampton Inn & Suites. Alex Von Coydle from the Macon Centreplex saying so long, everyone. We can't wait to have you on board with us tomorrow night as the Mayhem take on the Knoxville Ice Bears at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Till then, so long, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Friday night.